Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. How's it going?
It's going well.
Is it?
Sure.
Right. Oh, good. That's good. I'm glad everything's going well with you.
Yes.
While the world burns. You sit back in your palatial estate.
Yes.
Looking at turtles.
What?
Right?
Yes.
Come out of the lake that you own.
My private body of water. Yes.
The private body of your bog. That's in the back. Backyard bog that you own. That is actually the town's, right?
Yes. I grow my own cranberries in there in the fall. So
but there are turtles in there.
Yes.
And they are snapping turtles, right?
They are, right. No, they're red-eared turtles or something. I looked it up once. Apparently they are. It's apparently just sentient bacteria in a shell. That's all turtles are. It's like,
you ever watch a turtle try to crawl out of something?
Yeah.
Not the big ones, but little one.
Yeah.
Super cute. Cute.
They're adorable.
Like little turtles are adorable. Big turtles are get a little scary, you know.
They look prehistoric.
You ever see like an alligator turtle?
No.
I saw is it an alligator or a crocodile turtle? They are frightening as hell. They are like literally a dinosaur, like a small dinosaur.
Yeah.
Just look up alligator turtle.
Yeah, I think I will. Alligator turtles
will bite your arm off. Like they are, and their shells, they literally look like they're from prehistoric times.
Oh, like, yeah.
They should not exist on the earth. I went to when we went away, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Not last week, the week before. We went to a zoo and I saw one of those and I was just like, I've seen them before, and I've seen like them being handled by like whatever.
Yeah.
And they're just frightening. You know, there's things on the planet. You know, people they always want to see like Jurassic Park and shit. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm always like, you know what? There's stuff on this planet that is so much more frightening, and it's real.
Yeah.
Like, you might not have to worry about them getting you. But the one thing I did see, and we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about Dune. About a bunch of things besides Dune, but I saw a hippo at the zoo. Now, hippos are usually like, well, the funny thing about hippos, and most people don't realize it, is that like they are the most dangerous animal on the planet.
Actually. Yes,
like they are supposedly like the highest murder rate, not of them, but of like us. They will kill us.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've heard that too.
Wasn't it like Colombia or something? I read a thing about this recently or something. That Colombia had an issue because Pablo Escobar like brought in hippos, and like those hippos like had other hippos, and then like for years Colombia or something had a history, like a problem of like
a hippo problem,
just wild hippos because of Pablo Escobar, like just and they were hungry. They were hungry.
The hungry,
the hungry ones.
I don't know. I do remember though hearing that hippos are like very dangerous, and I've also seen like wildlife footage where like a huge saltwater crocodile, which is basically a dinosaur, will be like minding its own business, terrorizing a village, and then all of a sudden it gets like fucked up by like 3 hippos. Like the hippos will just tear it to shreds.
I've seen videos like people like sticking watermelons in hippos and they just crush down on it, and it's like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, the reason why I bring it up is because there was a hippo at the zoo, and hippos in the zoos usually, like the one funny thing about it is when you go to the zoo is you really most of the time just get to watch the animals sleep. Like, look, it's a tiger. Oh, cool, it's sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool, it's sleeping. Like the behind the one wall is really awesome. There was lions, and I never really seen this before. It was like a lion's den, I think. You know, like 10 of them just huddled together. And I'm like, I just want to lay on it. It's probably so soft. Yeah, and then they wake up and then they rip my body into like 40 pieces. But the hippo, we went to the hippo thing, and it's in a pool.
Mm-hmm.
And normally you just see them just sitting in the water like giant potatoes, like they don't do anything. But this hippo did something. It got up.
Yeah.
It started snorting water. It turned around, looked at us, snorted water, and it like you would think they would keep a good distance of the hippo cage. Like it's very easy to get into the hippo cage, like way too easy. The hippo then snorts water and then gets up a little bit and starts making this insane noise. It was like,
oh wow.
I was like, what the fuck?
Like it just revealed to you its evil plan. Like
like I'm like, holy shit, this thing wants to kill us. This is not like it was a weird laugh. It was like,
yeah.
I was like, what?
Wow.
And our friend was like, she was like, yeah, I don't think that's good. Like I don't feel like that's a good noise. It made me think, and I was gonna bring it up later when we talk about Dune, but there's a part where like Paul meets a sandworm and the spoilers, we're gonna talk about Dune, but let's talk about this real quick. There's a part when the sandworm kind of laughs at Paul. It goes like,
yeah.
And I was like watching, I was like, holy shit, it's a hippo in the zoo. Yeah, I didn't like that. I was like, go back to being a potato. I don't like you being too alive.
Yeah.
Like, let me just stare at you. I paid money to not get eaten, you know? All right. So on that note.
Yeah, right.
What are we talking about?
We have we're gonna talk briefly about the Buzz Lightyear trailer.
Oh, the most important of all movies is the Buzz Lightyear trailer.
We're gonna talk about Dune. Talk about
I'm gonna become the Dune.
The Kyle Rittenhog.
Rittenhouse. Yep.
And the judge hearing his trial.
Who happens to be a hog too.
Yeah, Bruce Schroeder. He's been on the federal bench for 40 some years.
Why it's important to have good judges is this reason right here.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want this evil child to be freed.
Yeah, he's we're gonna talk about the Alec Baldwin situation, which is
I think did the Boss Baby sequel come out? Is that what we're gonna talk about?
No.
Boss Baby 2?
No,
is it Baby Boss or Boss Baby? I kind of mess with me.
I don't know. I am familiar with the film, but I don't remember the title.
I always think of the Cake Boss too.
Yeah, the Cake Boss.
Well, I guess he'd be the Boss Baby, not the Baby Boss. Yeah, I think it's Boss Baby.
Boss Baby.
Boss Baby too?
No, we're gonna talk about we're talking about the shooting that occurred on the set of Rust, which is a movie he's producing, filming. It's very. Talk about Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema.
Yeah.
The Virginia race, which is the governor's race in Virginia. Yep. I think it's next Tuesday is the election.
It's always the year after the election year. Like it's and they always use Virginia as like a little like
barometer. Yeah. We're talking about Charlie Kirk and Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about a little bit of Facebook stuff. And then that's it. There's probably some other stuff going on in there. But those are our big topics.
Okay. Well, before we get into that, I want to bring up real quick. Like for the past like months now, there's been like this meme or this story, like people saying like people don't want to work, they're not taking jobs, and they refuse to work. We've talked about this before on the podcast and like analyze this and that we're not. We're just regular Joes,
right?
We're just regular Joes, we don't have like really like I personally, I don't know about you, but I don't have like a economics degree or like understanding of things or like how to talk to people or anything like that. And you have a palatial state with alligator turtles that you have to feed raw meat to.
I'm just a simple Dogecoin speculator who has
Dogecoin speculator. I like to mine in the Bitcoin cave.
Yes.
Do you own any Dogecoin?
No, it's funny, and
Shibu Inu. Do you have
I own. Here's the weird thing. I bought I want to say $10 of Shibu Shibu Inu like a while ago, and I looked a couple days ago, and the thing was like up over $100. I had made like 10 times my $10
Nice.
investment. Okay. Right. And so then I was like, you know what? There might be something there. So I put a little more money in it, and it's skyrocketed another like 2 or 3 times its value. And I looked before we started recording tonight, and it's kind of coming back down. So I'll probably get rid of it.
I feel like all these coins are like that. Like,
yeah, they are.
All these coins are like that. And all it takes, the problem with these coins is that all it takes is the person who bought them all up.
Yep.
Early on, and then it gets to a point where they're like, oh yeah, you know, like you said, it's like 10 times like what you paid, so yeah, it's probably like 100 times what they paid, so they're gonna become like, they're gonna make a bunch of money, who knows how much, and they sell it, and it brings down the value for everybody.
Yeah,
it's say like, that's the whole thing, like how crypto is going to replace currencies.
Well, the theory behind Shiba, and I don't believe this, but the theory behind Shiba is that so many people own such small amounts of it that shouldn't happen in theory. Yeah. There is no person that has like 40% of Shiba.
I don't how the one guy who supposedly owned, like the inventor or the owner of the guy who supposedly created Bitcoin, you know, if he's alive, he owns like $1 million's worth. And they're like afraid that this guy, who knows if he's alive again, so there's $1 million that's removed from the market. Like, I don't know if that's the exact number. Right. He owns a lot of them that if he were to sell them, it would sink Bitcoin. It's enough to sink Bitcoin because it's such a huge percentage. It's like, because it's this certain amount that he or she or whoever owns it has, it keeps it out of the market, which also keeps it alive, you know? And, so that's like a huge issue.
I believe
that's not what I was going to talk about.
Right. Okay. So what were you going to talk about?
I know Joseph wants to turn this podcast into a cryptocurrency NFT podcast.
I just urge all our followers, for when it hits, just buy one Lambo, right? And that way there'll be plenty. There won't be a Lamborghini shortage.
Oh, that's the most important thing, is that there's a Lamborghini shortage. Right? I went to the Lambo store, and all they had was like a light shade of blue.
Exactly.
Different shade of blue.
Right.
Very upset. I had a fit. I was like, don't you know who I am? I own 1 million shares in Cock and Balls crypto I'm a serious person. I didn't tell you the time somebody wanted to buy something from me, and they wanted to buy stickers from me. This was years ago.
Yeah.
And he wanted to pay me in Doge, and I was just like, I don't know how to do that. I don't even know how to make that transaction. I don't know what. The guy ended up being like a chud later on, but like, it was really funny.
Yeah.
I guess I should have taken it.
You'd probably be like a trillionaire right now.
No, I probably would be worth nothing. Isn't like, all right, I don't want to talk about it. You're not going to, again, it's Joseph's dream to make, are you still talking about cryptocurrency? That's what he wants to call the show. He wants to, and he wants to get in on it early. He wants speculators and be like, oh, you got to get this coin. You got to get this coin, guys.
Going to rebrand it as, you still going on about that moonshot? You still going
And all of a sudden, like, you're talking about how great Elon Musk is.
Yeah.
Like what a great guy is, how he's going to save the planet. You know, they announced that he is on track to be the next trillionaire.
Yeah.
This guy was complaining about a wealth tax the other day.
Yeah.
He just made like $36 billion like a week ago or something. And I was like,
it's crazy.
That guy sucks. He sucks on so many levels. It's like, he sucks because the reason why he sucks even more is because he has a cult. Like,
yeah,
like
that's
Bezos. I don't think people like Jeff Bezos at all. Like, I think it's like he's generally on a. I'm sure he's like respected by people, right? Whatever, but like on a what people like icon or like who they want to like root for or anything like that. Jeff Bezos does not. For some reason, Elon Musk is on that just because they saw like Iron Man 2 or something. And
he's kind of Tony Stark like character. He that's his shtick. You know, he's created that and cultivated that image.
Why again? You're trying to turn this into a positive by comparing him to a likable character.
Right? Yeah, he's like when really like he's a little less Iron Man and a little more Blood Diamond. You know, that's like
yeah.
If they made a movie about his life, it would not be Iron Man. It would be like Blood Diamond.
I just think it's hysterical. It was a complaint about like some tax where like he would have to pay like whatever, and the guy made 36 billion the other day.
I mean, like, it's just so crazy. That would be like if you or me had like, I don't know, $100, and the government came and said, you know, we've been taking a penny of that $100. I think we're gonna have to take 1.5 pennies next year, and you and I like completely lose our shit over it. You know, I mean, like it's so
it's ridiculous. And the funny thing too is like all these people like defending him, like Steven Krabs, like that's his wealth. Or some people like, you fucking idiot. First of all, the guy's had more subsidies than anybody. Obama gave him so much money over the years, like because the guy was supposedly going to save the world.
Thanks,
and then like
Obama.
Yeah, thanks, Obama. And then like SpaceX they said SpaceX is the reason why. I don't know.
If he makes his money by selling tickets on a spaceship to other billionaires, fine. You know, I don't care which billionaires get what part of the billions. That doesn't bother me. But I don't know.
Well, it's like it's funny because it's like again, all right. Well, that's not what I want to. Well, it goes into this. So this whole theory of like people don't want to work. People like they don't, you know, because of all that money that Democrats get, all that money. Oh my God, they're just giving it away. Free lunch for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like not like that good, honest, hardworking Elon Musk. You know,
he puts in.
Supposedly though, from what I've been hearing, especially I've seen this on a lot of TikTok videos recently, it's coming up, is that people have been talking about, especially people who work in companies and big companies, that they have like signs out for hire all the time.
Oh yeah,
all the time, supposedly, and no one wants to work. No one's coming in. Here's the catch: they're not actually hiring.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a lie. People are talking about how they're like skeleton crews. They're like work to the bone.
Yep.
They keep being told that they're trying to get people to come in. They're not. And this is where it gets really fucked up. Now, I may not have the exact details down. I would say maybe do a little research after on this. Do your own research.
Yeah, that's
the theory, or it's not really a theory, is that like with the PPP loan that a lot of businesses got, lots of businesses that claim that they, almost anyone that had like any kind of business can't get a PPP loan, and who they could say they were affected by the pandemic or whatever. Supposedly, they have to pay it back. They have to pay. It's a loan.
But it gets forgiven. A lot of them get forgiven. I know.
Do you want to know one of the things that helps them get forgiven?
What?
They can't get employees to work there.
See, there you go.
So it's like they put out signs says, and then they claim no one could work here. And then they push this meme. The right wing, of course, will go along with it because they work with the big businesses anyway, the most. And then everyone's like, no one wants to work. No one wants to work. And there's more factors involved. We talked about it, like that one guy saying that people are just being priced out of areas. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to travel 25, 30 minutes to work at like Chili's so I can feed your dumbass and then have to spend like more than a quarter, if not more, of my paycheck just for travel.
Right.
Like it's expensive. Unless you have a very good gas efficient car, or if you even have a car to begin with.
Yeah.
Where we live, there's no public transportation where we live.
No, I mean, there's very limited public transportation.
So everyone who works it would be best if they live in at least a 5 mile radius. So they're just like, I don't know. But we're definitely not in a friendly, what do you call it? Not public.
No.
Not at all.
Like, well, and this town where we live, and most towns are like the town we live, in the sense that they're just not built for walking or for public.
Well, we don't have buses here. That's the thing.
But they're not even built for public transportation. Like in theory, let's say there was like a really good robust bus system. The roads are built so that like you'd still need to like, I don't know, that they'd be stopping every 20 feet, or like the routes would be so weird that you,
Oh,
I mean, like,
it's totally, yeah, there's lots of factors involved. But the point I'm saying is just that like this whole lie that like, oh, no one wants to work. There's a lot more
yeah,
factors involved, and the fact that like a lot of companies are using it as a way to like, keep their money or not. It's
yeah,
kind of fucked up.
it's
I hope
super
it's.
fucked up.
I mean, again, I could be glossed over a couple things or missing a couple of things here. I'm sure someone could be like, "That's not true" or whatever. I mean, again, I don't have like it. It sounds it sounds like something that would happen.
There's a guy on Twitter like a couple days ago. It was like a moderately big story. He kept hearing that nobody could get people to work. So he applied for like 60 entry-level jobs. He put together a real basic
Yeah.
resume.
Okay.
And he got 2 callbacks out of the 60. And one callback just kind of gave him a cursory interview, and then he never heard back from him. And the second one was for a job that started at like $13 an hour, and the guy wanted them to start part-time at 8 and work his way up and shit. And it was like,
fuck you, dude.
yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is the ad, it was an ad for a shitty job and a shitty pay. And then when he shows up, it's like even worse than the ad implied, So I don't know. Fuck all that. I mean, like, we're just going through an incredibly big shift in something, in the way we work, in the way we have labor organized, and the way wealth is distributed. I mean, it's a weird time.
Yeah. It's and then you hear things about supply chain and all that, and so no one wants to work. So because no one wants to work, the supply chain's being affected, and then they find a way to like blame Biden administration on this, and it's all part
It's
of
just
like
crazy. Like I see every day, like the other day, I'm going to see if I can find it. The other day, I saw a news article that said they're raising the price of diapers. Right? Did you see that?
No, I don't usually look up articles for diapers.
Well,
But,
I saw it, and it's okay. So here it is. The Blackstone CEO, Steven Schwartzman.
Oh, you posted about
Yeah.
this. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
This motherfucker says that no, that was a he says that there's inflation, and that's going to cause some social unrest. But this guy happens to make $610 million a year. And that works out to be $350,000 an hour, and that's $5,000 per minute, and that means every second.
What's funny though? That guy's more closer to being homeless than he is to being as wealthy as Elon Musk, though.
Probably, but every second at work he makes $84.
Wow, I wish I made $84 a second. I'd be much happier.
The diaper guy who's raising the price of diapers, he hates to do it to the single moms out there.
Oh, so sorry. I just hate to do it,
Yeah.
But I want to make 700 million next year. The only way I'm going to be able to do that is if I raise the price of diapers.
He makes $113 a minute.
I looked at the numbers, and I was talking to my accountant, and he said, you really want to make that extra money, you're gonna have.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you gotta be.
It really makes me sad, knowing that.
The problem's that you can't find a guy to unload a boat. That's the problem. The problem isn't that you make like fucking $300 a minute. That's not maybe the problem.
Yeah, well, that's been a growing problem in this country for decades now. I mean, the one thing the pandemic, and it doesn't get talked about enough, is besides the fact that like 1 million Americans died from it, and people have sick from it, long-term damage from it. People lost loved ones.
Yeah.
The one thing that doesn't get talked about as much, though, is the fact that the wealthiest people in the country didn't just get wealthier; they got like immensely wealthier because of the pandemic. Which is, I don't even understand how that works. I don't understand how like Elon Musk basically doubled his wealth, if not more. He tripled his wealth during the pandemic. And this guy, and the thing that sucks about him the most is that like he was telling people it wasn't real. Like he was telling people it was going to go away in April in 2020. He was saying it was. He said it was stupid, and he was telling people to get back to work in the shitty factories. And that's what makes it even hurt even more. That's what hurts even more. It's like you're not just seeing a terrible people. And I don't feel like it gets discussed enough that like during a pandemic, like there was these really rich dudes that were able to get even richer during that time period. It doesn't really get talked about as much.
No.
And like you would think these people could be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna give back like 2% of my wealth and solve like a huge portion of problems. Like it's a lot of money.
It's crazy.
They could the diaper guy, yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, I gotta raise the price. I gotta raise the price of diapers.
Everything's going up. The post office is going up. I went there. They said it went up. I was like, oh, great. And the thing that sucks, it's like I'm a small business, I guess, in theory. It's like I'm trying to sell stuff, and then I tell people like, yeah, this is how much it costs to ship, and it hurts me. And I refuse to I'm not doing free shipping because I couldn't afford to. I would lose.
Yeah.
Back in like a couple of years ago, I could probably afford to be like, okay, I'll throw in free shipping. Because it was like $4 and now just for like ship something basic. And now it's like 6 or 7. Yeah. And then you start getting into like the priority and it gets even more expensive and it adds up. And it's like people want to buy something stupid from you. I'm not talking about art even, just stuff I sell on eBay and shit like that. And it's like I gotta jack my price up because eBay takes a cut, that takes a cut. I'm losing money in the end. So I could charge $14 to ship something, and with the eBay cut taken and all these other things taken, in reality, I'm still losing money. And now I find out the post office raised it. You can thank the joy for that. Everything is going up. People, of course, will blame me measly $1,000 that everyone got. That is not why things are going up. I'm sorry. If you think that is the reason why everything's going up, man. Like, like the measly money that they gave the United States, that everyone got, that cannot be the reason. No.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I just wanted to bring it up about the jobs. I just am kind of sick and tired of hearing this bullshit about no one wants to work. That's not true. People do want to work. People also want to make a decent living. That's a really big thing. It's not just about like, oh, I want to work. It's also like, yeah, I want to work, but I also want to be able to afford to work.
Right.
Like, it costs money to work sometimes.
It's fun. Like if your choices are living poorly and having all this time off, or living poorly and slaving away over a deep fryer, of course you're going to fucking choose the more deeply rewarding time off option if you're going to live shitty either way,
Right.
I mean, like,
well, you don't want to fucking get a fucking oil burn.
Well, when we had our daughter, it was like, well, your options are, if you go back to work, you're going to pay X amount in childcare, and you start doing some math and you're like, I don't know, maybe it's worth it to be broke for a little bit. And I don't know. I mean, you just do some weird calculations, and this notion that like, I don't know. I mean, that whole Protestant work ethic that's kind of built into Americans, like your value is based on how much you want to work.
The United States value, that's how they value people. Like,
it's just bullshit though, because like the truly wealthy people don't work at all.
No,
they don't work. They don't labor. I mean, it's like, I'm not saying that they
live off dividends pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, like, and that's Elizabeth Warren always talks about that, and it makes perfect sense. We get taxed on labor. Or if you work for a living, if you literally like work for a living, you'll get taxed at an incredibly high rate. But if you make your money just sitting around in your pajamas, you get taxed at a very low rate.
Dude, that's why you got to get into crypto, bro.
That's why, because yes.
It's why you got to get into collecting manhandled Pokemon cards.
Right. Yes. That Burger King Star Wars glasses.
Yeah. We're basically a Burger King Star Wars glasses based economy.
Yes. Yeah. A certain series of the My Little Pony figurines.
Oh,
Very,
yeah.
yep. So.
Pinkie Pie, or whatever that one's name is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, my kid used to watch the pony show, and they were great. Those were really, really good.
Oh, would you say you were a brony?
No, but I that's when I learned of the brony, because I like would
I saw
Google
the
it.
brony documentary, and it was interesting. What's his face was in it a lot, so that was kind of cool. The guy from who plays Q. We've talked about him before.
Oh yeah.
Because he played like the main villain on the show.
Right, I can see that.
Was in it. Tara Strong was
yeah.
in it.
Yeah. That's a great show.
Harley Quinn and all that. All right, so I guess we'll just get into the topics real quick. All right, so this is kind of stupid. It's not really much to talk about. I just woke up this morning and watched the trailer to Buzz Lightyear.
Yes.
You know, it's based on
this trailer violated my childhood. I was expecting.
You were 30 years old when Toy Story 1 came out.
Nevertheless, I was.
This trailer violated my. Let's see, how old was I? My late teens, early 20s.
Yeah. I don't know. What were you going to say about the
this was okay. So this was announced a while back. They were going to do a Buzz Lightyear Pixar movie it's this bizarre where it's like, I think people are having a hard time understanding this. This is not a Toy Story movie. It is a Buzz Lightyear movie based on is like as if we were watching like the Superman movie or like the Mannequin 2 on the Move. It's a movie. I guess the kid from Toy Story would go see this movie in theater or whatever. And this would be this would be like the Avengers Endgame of the Pixar unit, like the world that the people live in. They'd be all excited to go see Buzz Lightyear.
Right.
I would be awesome if it's like, what's that movie I like from the RoboCop guy? Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah.
It's really like a fake propaganda film.
That would be pretty good.
Infinity and beyond.
Would you like to know more?
We're going to war. The funny. All right, so one, it looks kind of weird because it's like really detailed CGI. Obviously,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
And like Buzz is like everyone looks like people, but Buzz like he's kind of looks a little different. Like it looks like a thumb. Or like everyone's like a person, then Buzz has like a weird head.
Yes.
And it's like people are like, why does he have to look like the toy still? Like it's not like if you saw the Han Solo figure from 1977, Harrison Ford did not look like the Han Solo figure. Thank God, because he would fucked up looking.
That would be super messed up.
Yeah, it'd be kind of funny. I guess he kind of looks more like it now.
Probably, yeah, actually.
So melted.
Yeah.
So that's like a weird one. But my favorite thing about it that I noticed was that they found a way to get Tim Allen out of the role of Buzz Lightyear.
That was awesome.
Tim Allen sucks. I'm sorry. Tim Allen is like,
he's always been terrible.
He's he's just a douchebag. I mean, like, yeah, we don't agree with him politically, but he's just an asshole. It's like, it's nothing to do with like, listen, you know what Kelsey Grammer is? He's notified he's a right. It's like, but you know what? The man is delightful.
Yeah. Yeah.
He do some therapy on you.
He just seems like he'd be interesting.
Scrambled eggs.
Yeah. Right. And you don't see him like spouting off his nonsense. Like,
I'm going to make a show that appeals to the Trump people. Remember that? He had some like The Last Man or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like some show. I never watched it. I think I saw like, always saw commercials for it. I used to be like, oh,
right.
This fucking show. I'm going to make a show for the Trump supporters. Like,
yeah.
Okay, buddy. No one cares. But yeah, he's like, he was like at the peak of his career when he nailed the gig for Toy Story, and he always comes back as Buzz. And every year he just gets like more. he's not like in James Woods territory. Like he's not like
No,
or Kevin Sorbo. Like he's not that
yeah,
bad. He's got crappy opinions. That's all.
he's on the far end of acceptable bad, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Like I don't think any like when I hear Tim Allen, I don't think like nobody should work with. I just think he's like a good example of a fringe, acceptable fringe, you know. Whereas with like
I
other
liked him
people,
in, yeah, go ahead.
other people like I don't even want them working.
I liked him in Galaxy Quest. I thought he was
yeah,
great in that. You
it's
know,
good.
he was perfect. He played the asshole role. He
Yeah,
was the asshole William Shatner role.
I liked him a lot as Gomer Pyle in Full Metal Jacket. I thought he was great. Real,
It's not in Full Metal.
that was him.
Tim Allen was in.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, what's his face? The guy who played the Kingpin in Daredevil.
Vince, yeah, it was
That guy's great.
He is good.
Okay, well, whatever. They finally were able to do a sneaky thing, a sneaky move to get Tim Allen out of the role of Buzz Lightyear because Chris Evans, Captain America, is now playing him. Now the thing is, like, well, they could come with some bullshit. Well, this is technically not Toy Story. There is no reason why they could not have Tim Allen do the role. It's not like it's a cartoon. Believe it or not, it's not real. It's a voiceover. They just talk into a mic.
I don't know. You know, when I'm watching those, I get transported. I don't think I could suspend my disbelief if I had an.
I thought The Rock was really in. I thought The Rock gained like 1,000 pounds and was in that movie. The one where he, what was it called again? Fuck. The one about the Hawaiian girl. He played the Hawaiian punch character.
Moana.
Moana, yeah, when he played that guy, like
he was great. He was.
You ever
great
see that meme where they took him though? It's the Rock where he's wearing that outfit from the '90s with the fanny pack, and then someone CGI'd like they did a Photoshop whatever, and it's his character from Moana.
Oh no, I have
wearing
not
the
seen
clothes. That. It's so funny.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I just think the reactions are kind of funny. People are like, it was a trash news. And you get these people who are like, oh, everything's so infantile now. Like now everything's infantile. now this is everything was not infantile before when they made the Smurfs movies and they made but oh my god, Buzz Lightyear movie. That's crossing the line.
Well, I just think Toy Story
Stacey on the phone.
Toy Story discourse has always been a really.
It is. It's the next Last Jedi, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, people are going to be. Alex Jones putting out an interview about like a review now about like how like Chinese propaganda and like making the men soft.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I hope there's so much stuff in that movie that just pisses off like.
Yeah.
Right wingers for the dumbest reasons, like just real stupid shit. Like
a
woman in charge. A woman says no. There's a woman that's wearing shoes.
When they pan out as Buzz Lightyear blasts off, the world is clearly a sphere. You know, like
it's a round Earth.
It's just triggering.
And then I hope there's a scene where Buzz Lightyear is like, I was never played by conservative hero.
Where he watches Home Improvement and just calls it shit. You know, like
this is pure shit. I would never watch this crap. Whoever is in this is horrible. I have no connection to it. Yeah. That would be awesome. I don't know. Okay, I guess let's talk about Dune.
I loved it. I thought it was great. It is funny. You and I were talking about it a lot, and I know you have a different opinion on it. I rewatched the David Lynch Dune the other day.
Pug starring
the pugs in like.
I have to rewatch it. I didn't watch it yet. I want to come back. I saw it in the theater and watched it as a kid, and I was like, and I saw it. It came out after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
and like a year later, and I just remember like being really excited to see Dune. I was a big Sting fan, and like any kid was back then.
Sure.
And I just thought it was like, I don't know if I liked it or not.
Well,
I don't remember. I thought it was weird.
I liked it plenty as a kid, although even as a kid it seemed cheesy. It suffers, you know how like in 1950s movies there's always like a orchestra playing in the background like fucking constantly, like it never stops.
Yeah.
It had that, and it was like,
you know what I love about Dune though is that it's David Lynch, but if you talk to people they would think that he made Eraserhead and then he went straight to Blue Velvet.
Right, yeah.
And he didn't make they forget that he did The Elephant Man.
Yeah. Which was like a good solid serious movie.
Yeah, but I think people like just forget that it's a David Lynch movie.
Yeah.
And then they just erased Dune. Because I mean even David Lynch like claims he hates it or something, or I don't know. Well, I guess they changed a lot of stuff in the movie, or I don't know. I guess he lost a lot of creative control over it, or like they chopped the shit out of it. He didn't have final say on the edit.
That could be. I could see a lot of shit going into it post-production that he didn't.
They didn't want the movie to be 4 hours long. Supposedly,
they didn't
want wanting like a director's cut, but supposedly he's like, I don't even have that footage.
They didn't want 60 minutes of non-dialogue orchestral screaming as a nuclear
the worm just screaming, shaking the screen, shaking. 20 minutes. Got a light.
Right.
A talking monkey.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I rewatched that movie and I reread parts of the book. It's a kind of a long book, so I didn't reread the whole thing. And I love the new Dune, but I wonder if I would like it as much if I wasn't aware of all those other things. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't,
like if this was the only thing you've seen of Dune.
Yes.
If you're like, I've kind of heard of it, but I never seen
right
at it, or
I don't think I would have understood it. I think a lot of the things wouldn't make sense. I think it's
funny. I remember when I watched the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that from the first Dune movie.
Yeah.
And then there was a mini series on Sci-Fi, which was like okay.
Yeah.
Fucking what's his face was it? I didn't even realize. The guy who's from like Split plays Professor X.
Oh,
James McAvoy.
Yeah. Is that?
Yeah, I guess he played the Paul character in the miniseries.
Oh, I don't remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be worth revisiting that.
Well, if you watch the old Dune, the David Lynch Dune, there's some scenes that are basically identical, like almost identical.
The scene when like what's Paul's dad's name?
Leto.
Yeah, like when he talks to like the guy who tells him to like take the poison or whatever, and like that guy's like kind of betrays him. Like that's all in the original Dune. Yeah. The part when Kyle MacLachlan puts his hand in the box, and when Shalamama Ding Dong puts his hand in the box. The same shit. I'll be honest with you, I didn't like it. I'll tell you why I didn't like it. Like, okay, so it's like the one thing I did notice though, I just want to get this out of the way, is like, especially if you go on like Twitter or like that, there's already like this weird, like the right wing hates this movie, and the online like lefty type people, or people who like people who claim they like The Last Jedi and hated, and the people who hated The Last Jedi, the people who claim they like The Last Jedi love Dune. They love this movie. And the right, like a lot of right, they hate it for reasons I don't even want to know why. My opinion, I didn't like. These are the reasons why I didn't like it. One, I don't like it. They split it in half. They did announce. Okay, so they did announce recently that there will be a part 2. So that's good. That's good. So I don't feel like this was not a complete movie. I don't care. This was not a complete movie. Now you can say like, oh well, you know, all the Marvel movies are. No, they're not. Marvel movies tell a complete story, even when they're like they have a beginning, middle, and end. Even fucking Infinity War had a beginning, middle, and end. It ended on a very on a cliffhanger-ish because all the people died, but it had an ending. There was an arc. Thanos wants the fucking gems. Thanos fights, get the gems. Thanos does what he wants, stares off from the sun. Boom, done. It's a solid movie, and then Endgame comes in, and it's a different movie.
Yeah.
It Okay, I brought up It too.
Oh yeah.
We talked about It before, not the miniseries or anything like that. It movie and It 1 and It 2. The It 1 movie, film 2 later. I'll get into that in a second. The way they directed and did It 1 worked because it only took place in 1987. They didn't have any flashbacks or flash forwards with like the older versions of the people. It was just all about the kids in 1987 confronting an evil clown. And it had a beginning, middle, and end. And like if you knew what It was, if you heard of it, you knew that eventually there was going to be a sequel with the adults confronting the clown. But it told they were smart enough to make the first movie just be its own thing. It works.
Yeah,
you could watch It 1 and you don't really have to see It 2. It 2 is actually not that good. It 2 is what It 1 should have been, where they kind of go back and forth and they have like flashbacks. And because they didn't film It 1 and 2 at the same time, the kids all got older. They all got like a couple years older. So they had to do these weird CGI smoothing effects on like the kids.
Yeah, that never works.
It looked so bad. The kid from Stranger Things, he had like all of a sudden he just looked like a big cartoon character. It looked like Feifel from the
American Tail.
Feifel. Okay, so like the kids looked weird because they filmed it all like, for some reason they didn't film the movie back to back. It's kind of stupid on their part. Like, but at least when they did It, they were smart enough, though. Maybe they just didn't have the budget, WB or whatever, didn't want to commit. But at least they were smart enough to make It be its own satisfying movie with this evil clown. The kids confront it, and that's it. Like, they resolve some problems, and then if you know the story or whatever, you know there's going to be more. But if there never was more, it would have been this fun, okay thing. It would have been like whatever. But Dune, by dividing it up in half and not film, like, how did you not film the second part? Because it's not, if it was designed as its own movie, beginning, middle, and end, and you know that there's gonna be more. We know that they didn't solve the Dune or save the Dune or whatever they do with Dune. Then I would be more forgiving, but like there really is no beginning, middle, and end. And I know, yes, he has like a little battle with this one guy who doesn't want to like, and then he like kind of leads the tribe, whatever, in the end.
Yeah.
And then Zendaya, who doesn't talk at all in the movie because she's only in like weird little flashback or weird vision scenes. She's like, I think she says the best is yet to come. She's like, the best is yet to come. And I was like, why are you quoting Kimberly Guilfoyle from the Republican 2020 convention?
It is a weird one. And just all the logistics of it. Like, you have really bizarre filming locations spread out all over the globe. And you have a ton of actors and actresses in it that are big names and that probably have shit they got to do. And it's a big production company and it's a big director. You're probably going to get a second one. I just don't understand why you wouldn't just shoot the whole announced thing.
It for 2023, but I mean, like, bullshit. I don't believe it's going to be done by then. I don't believe it. It's too big. Like, I don't know. Maybe, everything's fucking CGI now, though. For all you know, they filmed this all like green screen lots, and then like all these vast backgrounds are like he does a little shrinky dink to them.
That could be. They could have filmed a lot of scenes already. Like some of the scenes could have just been background scenes. Like they don't need to go back and film establishing shots anymore, or shots of the desert, or so some of it could be already.
You gotta get the worms back in the studio. Those things are a fucking pain in the ass.
The worms are already booked for the new Wonka series, also starring Timothée Chalamet. So,
God, I do not like that guy. I am sorry. Like, call me a man's man. But that guy, he's a prissy boy. I'm sorry. I don't care if I sound what I sound like right now.
Yeah.
I do not believe him to be a great hero. He looks like he wants to talk about bands and he makes sure you never heard about him. Like, he talks down to you about bands and music and you're just like, what? And then and if you do know the band, he's gonna start bringing up like imports and singles and like shit that's just you can't get anywhere, you know. Like that's the vibe I got from this guy. Like he doesn't look like he wants to like take on like the I don't know the Cylons, whatever.
Well, it is
Cardassians or whatever.
It's good. It's a weird character. I mean, I think it works really well in a book, but he's got to be like a little naive and a little arrogant. And I mean, he's a boy. He's supposed to be like a young boy.
Falcon was able to pull that off. I think pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I just don't like this actor. I don't know why. I mean, I've seen him in other stuff. He doesn't really bother. I don't know. I just don't like him. I think he's like. I think like what's his face is great, but he's already dead. I feel like if the movie was just one, it's like this could have been one fucking movie. It could have been 1 3-hour movie, and then make a 4-hour movie for the freaks who complain about everything or need like more. Think that the first one was edited. Like that's what you do with a movie like this. You don't. It's like the studio wanted to be greedy and be like, all right, we'll make this in a 2-part movie. You know, like Deneuve or whatever his name is. Dennis DeMenace or what? Deneuve. Let's call him Double D.
Yeah,
Double D. Sure, that's how he would love to be referred to.
I'm sure.
Probably convinced the studio, whatever, to get the funding and everything. Like, oh, the movie's success, we can make another one out of it. You know, because they love franchises, right? But like, I just don't know why you wouldn't make these back to back. Like you said, there's so many actors, a lot of big names in it. You got to get everybody back. You got to get like production crews back. You got to like it.
It's like when they're going to
start filming it. They're not going to start filming it probably till like next summer, though, at the earliest, or next spring, the earliest. Like you're 6 to 8 months to maybe even a year before they even start filming. Now they could be working on all the other stuff, and then like I don't know, like. So the Sting character, I know he's like a rival of like Paul, whatever. He's like, what's the name of the house? The evil people, the Baron
Harkonnens.
Harkonnen,
the bad ones.
Like, why would you not introduce that guy? Where is he? Is he even a character, or am I just making him up? Like,
I don't remember him being
in the miniseries also, and the miniseries supposedly was way more. People said that really followed the novel more than the movie did, because it was like stretched out over like a 2 or 3 part miniseries, so they were able to flesh out the story more.
It'd be tough to see how you could do the book justice in 3 hours. You know, I mean, like you'd almost get a version of Dune, but it would be like a quick version of Dune. You know, they'd have to leave some parts out.
There's so much stuff in the movie that is just like masturbatory imagery, not like actual.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird. I was like, what the hell am I watching here? With Paul on chat roulette.
Right.
Weird shit. Not a fan. No, I mean, like, there's just a lot of like, okay, like, yes, watching it at home, did it suffer? Yeah, this movie's definitely made for IMAX. I think it's shot in IMAX. I mean, yeah, you should watch it in IMAX, but you know what? Again, I'll tell you this. If I saw that in theater, I would have fell asleep.
Yeah.
That movie is like the first hour is really good. Like I was really into it in the first hour, and then like I don't know, the shit with the mom, and then just like it made me think of like that first Harry Potter movie, like the part 1 of the where they took the last book and split it, and it was just like the Harry Potter kids just like wandering around looking at like I don't know shit from the past,
right?
And it was like they totally just dragged out the second book. They could have just made one good movie. I get it. Duniacs is like they like to be called, the Duniacs. They demand, they're like, no, this needs to be longer. But I don't believe that. I think like if you have good writers, good director, good good studio, well in the back end and everything like that, you can make a really solid movie at 3 hours. That's a long ass fucking movie already.
Oh yeah.
Now, like I said, it could have been a 3-hour movie and then a 4-hour movie for the nuts. So all the stuff that didn't make it in or fleshed out scenes, maybe kind of like the best example is Lord of the Rings, like Lord of the Rings 1, 2, 3. All of them like clocked in. Like the first one was like over 2 hours and they started getting longer. The last one was like 3 hours. But they released these special edition DVDs like 4 or 6 months later, that had like extra footage on it, and it made the movies all like a half hour, 40 minutes long. And they did full on special effects. They didn't cheap out on it. It looked good. I made sure to wait and buy those. And I really liked them. That's what they should have done with Dune. Now, again, the Lord of the Rings books is not, that's 3 books, 3 separate books.
Right.
I mean, like, yeah, the first one kind of end, they end in a way that, you know, there's another book, another movie, but like they work. And he filmed them all at once. So there's this like, there's a consistency too. There's a consistency. They're gonna lose a little bit of consistency. It's just, that's just the way it is. I like, and I'm saying that I like the old Baron better. What's his face was fine as it, but it was like they wanted to make him this like mysterious character, and you know he's evil and all that, but it wasn't really anything there. And then he has this confrontation with Jared Leto. No, what's his face? Oscar Isaac played him.
Yeah.
And like they have this confrontation, but I'm like, I guess they hate each other. I don't know. Like, I didn't feel like I, as a viewer, I never read the book. You don't have, and here's the thing: you don't have to read. If you have to read the book to understand the movie, you failed at a movie. This is a movie. I know I probably made excuses for other things in the past, but I'm a huge hypocrite, so it's fine. Well, it's like everyone else is a hypocrite too. But what I'm saying is, like, you shouldn't have to read the book. You should not. It's like what you just said earlier. If I didn't read the book, if I didn't see the original movie, my opinion of the movie would probably be a little different.
I think so. Yeah.
It's like you're getting this like more juiced up version. It's like, yeah, the Dune movie from 1984 is kind of cheesy. Okay, here's this beautiful movie that was just made, but like it lacks color.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I mean, there is colorful images, but it's super desaturated.
It's all washed out. Yeah.
The worms were like, I'm assuming there's bigger worms and smaller worms. Yeah. I don't know, because like when you first see the worm, the butthole, a butthole, or an eyeball too. It was kind of interesting. Like when it came out of the desert, it swallowed up that.
That harvester.
The oil refinery. Yeah. when it swallowed, it looked huge. It looked insanely huge. It looked like a baseball stadium, or even bigger, like just massive. But then, like in the end, like when Paul and his mama, the woman who wears the top hat and Dr. Sleep, they run into a worm, and it's like it's huge, but it wasn't that big, and it was kind of like laughing at him or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
like that hippo that I brought up earlier.
It was.
Someone will say, "You're just not that intelligent. That's why you didn't enjoy the movie." I'm like, "Oh, fuck you." That it was okay. It was okay. It's only going to be as good as the strength of the second movie. The fact that there's a second movie coming out is a good thing, because if this was a one movie only, not just would this be a huge letdown, it would be a fucking abysmal wreck, and you would never see a Dune movie ever again, a new Dune movie, because I just think it was a risky element on their part to not film the second one. I don't even understand either. Like, wouldn't it be cheaper to film them back to back?
There's just no reason. There's no good argument for doing it the way they did it. There just isn't.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you not film it back to back? Now, I can understand if like the studio is like, okay, you could film it, but we're only going to give you budget to like for all the CGI and special effects for the first one, right? And it's like, okay, because that's kind of like with Lord of the Rings. What's what happened. I mean, as you watch them, they didn't make them all at the same time. I mean, they shot them,
right?
But like the CGI got better into each movie.
Yeah, they put them together.
Like they didn't. There's a reason why you didn't see Gollum in the first one, because they didn't really have the technology down yet until the second one. When Gollum, I mean, also the order. I don't think he's really in Lord of the Rings really to begin with, right? Like
he was in the cave.
You see it just his eyes in the in Lord of the Rings. You don't see him. He's just kind of like in the back. You don't really get to see him. And it isn't until the second one that he's fully realized. Yeah. But I think they also didn't really have the special effects yet. They didn't have it down, or they were work. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been ready for 2001, but by 2002. But like, yeah, you shoot the entire movie. You get all the actors. Yeah, you're going to need them for like pickups later and all that. But like, what the studios? I mean, I would imagine the studio would save like $100 million easily on the budget filming it all at once. I don't understand that one at all. Like, why would you make a movie like Dune, try to make it this big epic franchise and only go in and half, kind of just go in like just what they call it, like half measured, like again, it's fine though because they already announced they're making a second one. I heard rumors they said they were making a third one.
Well, there were like 6 books in the series.
No, but this is based on just the one book.
Oh, okay.
This is not based on, like, you're gonna tell me you're gonna try to turn this into a trilogy, because that's gonna be lame. I'm like,
there's really not enough to make it, not if they pace it the way they've been pacing it. There's enough for another 2.5-hour movie.
So Duncan, Idaho, who I heard they basically like, did they make a, because he's in the Dune movie, he's like barely in it.
Right.
In the first one. In the book, is he a bigger character?
He's like a reasonably big character. I don't see him as being much bigger.
Did they make him bigger for the movie to give it like a dramatic death when he dies, when he confronts?
I don't think so. And some of this I'm just kind of remembering haphazardly. Duncan, Idaho was kind of like the breakout character, even in the book, like in the 1960s. And he became like the Han Solo. Like he became more popular than, he was like the Fonz. He became more popular than Richie. And they even brought him back in subsequent books after he had been killed. They brought him back as like a
isn't he like a clone or something?
Something like that. It was called a Gola, I think. It was but it was basically
isn't he already a clone? Isn't that the whole, isn't he like, this isn't even his first iteration or something?
I don't recall that.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I never read the other books. I read Dune, and then I never read any of the other 5 or 6 that came after that.
The Return to the Planet of Dune, the Escape from the Planet of Dune.
Dune Messiah. Dune Messiah was the next one. That's supposed to be great. And Children of Dune, I think, was the third one.
There was it The King or something? And there's like a book or something, and the artwork someone posted on Twitter is like, it was like a head coming out of the worm, and it just looked like and I drew like it looks like a literal dickhead. The art, this looks like a literal dickhead. It's like
that may be Dune Messiah, I think.
So again, like the movie, like I said, it's very nice looking.
Yeah,
I won't take it from that. The performances are fine. They're fine. I think it's hysterical though, because like again, it's like everyone wants to like shit on Marvel movies. That's like their thing. They think it's like cheap cinema or whatever. And I find it funny because I swear the director said something about Marvel movies.
Scorsese, right? Was it Scorsese?
No, he didn't direct Dune. This Deneuse.
Oh, this guy said,
also about Marvel movies. He said something. And I'm sorry, but there were some Marvel movie-esque scenes in this movie. Yeah. Some jokes exchanged, the type of language that would be used in a Marvel movie. So they shouldn't say shit like that if they're gonna. The other thing I didn't like that gave this movie a bad taste to me is the director is kind of like bitching and complaining about the pandemic. Like, he's one of the directors, kind of like, when HBO Max now, WB announced they're going to release all the movies on HBO Max same time as the theater. As expected, all the directors lost their shit.
Oh yeah,
which is fine. I don't blame them. I think it's more of like contracts and shit, and like, hey, you better pay
that
me.
makes sense.
Especially if there's back end. But like to lose your shit and be like, I demand that people be able to see this in the theater, my work. And it's like, dude, we're like in a fucking pandemic.
Yeah.
Like 1 million Americans died. Like millions of people died in the world. Get over your fucking self.
Unique circumstances.
Like, yeah, I don't know. He was like one of those people. He wasn't as bad as Nolan was. Nolan was like worse. But this guy like was like a little bitch about the pandemic. And now someone was like, "Oh, what if you made a movie?" I'd be like, yeah, I'd probably be pissed.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I don't know. I guess if I was a world famous director who lived in a bubble, lived in my own among the rich and famous, and had my ass kissed every second, I guess I too would be a person who didn't really think much about
right.
the fact that millions of people died around the world with the pandemic, and I would demand the people crowd on opening day to the cinema to see my half a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Half a movie. I'm sorry. Do you think it had a satisfying ending?
Well, it's funny. I think it I could see it having a satisfying ending simply because he escaped, and you knew he was going to seek revenge, and it was like, did it end? No, but it had kind of like a Kill Bill Part 1 ending for
me. But you knew,
but
again, unlike this movie, Kill Bill had, and Kill Bill 2, I felt like even with Kill Bill 1, there's enough that dramatic battle in the end when she fights in Japan. Goes against Lu in the end. It's such a like crazy long battle, and there's like lots of different things going on that it makes the movie a satisfying movie on its own. We knew though that there would always be a second one, because it was always supposed to be just one movie, and then Harvey not Firestein, Harvey Weinstein, Harvey Firestein. I want to split this movie in half. And then Quentin Tarantino was like, "What do you mean? What are you doing? I'm gonna cut your movie in half." Well, why is Harvey Firestein here? No, Harvey Weinstein cut the movie in half.
I think the satisfying ending here would have been like, all throughout the movie you're wondering, is Paul the Messiah? The Fremen are waiting for.
I just don't feel like it was a strong. It felt like a television pilot.
Yeah, I
Someone made a joke and said it felt like a preview to Dune 2. Oh. I'm like, here's all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
None of the good stuff's gonna happen until the second movie that we didn't film yet.
Well, I think you're right that people will judge it eventually or ultimately by how well parts 1 and 2 fit together.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't. If part 2 is good, then fine. It works as it works, but it does not work. It doesn't work as a movie on its own. And like I said, Kill Bill, you knew there was always going to be a second one. You knew, because he actually made one. He made one movie, and actually after watching Kill Bill 2, I realized that they actually worked really well as two separate movies.
Yeah, I can see that.
They did. They were really tonally different. Like the second one felt more like a Western.
For sure.
First one had like Japanese elements in it and everything like that. And then like there's a lot of it worked as separate movies really well. Even though, but we knew there was always gonna be a second one.
Yeah.
Because he made it. And the same thing with Lord of the Rings. We knew because he made all three. But this, like, I don't know. I find it really bizarre. I think it's why would you even make the movie if you weren't like, why would you back such a big movie and get all these big stars and put all the money into it if you didn't have faith in it to begin with? You know what I mean? Like, people are like, oh, well, they have to prove it. Like, I don't get it though. Like, why would you seems like a weird risk. Like,
that makes sense if you're dealing with a bunch of nobodies, or if it's an unknown property, or if like no one made like Jupiter Ascending Part 2, at the same time.
As we all clamored for it.
Well, because it was like they weren't like B-level stars, but they weren't major bankable stars. And
that was a very expensive movie.
Yeah. I believe it. And
I bet you Dune cost more.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's nobody, like, you didn't get like Will Smith in the movie or some like big name that like overshadows the movie, but we're not nobodies. Everyone in there, like Oscar Isaac has been in tons of stuff. Shyamalan guy,
Javier Bardem was in it. Aquaman
was in it. Aquabro.
Yep.
The wacky scientist from Thor, and he also played the snooty drink from the How About Them Apples, the movie. Yep. Remember that? How About Them? Is that the name? No, what's the name of that movie? The one with Ben Affleck and
Good Will Hunting. Yeah.
Yeah. How About Them Apples, the movie. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I just know that
Yeah.
people are like pushing it, making it sound like it's amazing. And I'm sorry, maybe I just I don't know. I don't really want. I'm not gonna watch it again. I'll watch it like again when like I know like the second one's gonna be out. Like when the second one's
Right.
out, or I'm gonna see it soon, or something like that. I'll rewatch it. But as of right now, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I think for some though, maybe it's just because like it is a beautiful movie, like visually, like,
It's real
and if you see
pretty. Yeah.
theater, and there's people I saw who were like, this is the first time I'm back in theater, and so if you went to an IMAX or you're seeing this on the big screen,
Yeah.
I think in there's like a little bit of the like the wow factor of just not you haven't been in the theater
Sure.
in
Yeah.
probably a year. Like I haven't. The last movie I saw in the theater. You want to hear this?
Hmm.
Last movie, Mannequin 2 on the Move. No, no. Onward. Remember Onward from Pixar?
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like it came out like 1,000 years ago?
The last God, when was is Onward the one where they're
It
like
takes it's like they're like elves and
yes.
centaurs.
Yeah.
Movie, but the guy.
We saw that on TV. Last movie I saw in the theater was with my kid. We saw the Addams Family cartoon remake.
Oh wow, that's really long ago.
Yeah.
That's wow. That's like October
Yeah.
2019. Oh wow. Okay. Uh no, wait. Oh, we saw the Star Wars though. Didn't that come out in 2019?
Did that come after Addams Family?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right, then that
Right.
was
Yeah,
the
2019 was the. So that's the last movie you saw in the theater was the Rise of Skywalker.
must have been Addams
Wow.
Family. When did Addams Family come out? Addams Family
It was like
came out.
October.
Shoot, yeah, you're right. October 2019, something like that.
I did not like Adam's Family. I thought it was like it looked cheap. Didn't look good.
It was fine.
Animation wise. Yeah.
Oscar Isaac was in that too.
Oh yeah, he played
He
Gomez.
played Gomez. Yeah.
Yeah, had they shrunk him down and made him look like that? They made him like they fucked with his posture a bit. They gave him really deep set like dark like inset eyes, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know how you describe that. Like a madman. Uh yeah, I don't know. I didn't it was okay. Maybe I'm just hard. You know, maybe I'm just hard on things. You know, you're an easier
Yeah.
customer.
Well,
no, but I think some people have like a wow factor. Like if they saw this in the theater, yeah, I guess watching it, you know, Dennis Deneuve or
yeah.
he is right. The true experience of this movie is to watch it in the theater.
In a theater, sure.
But that doesn't take away the fact that this is still a half a movie. So
yeah.
That's it. That's all I have to say. Let's move on. Okay, sorry.
All right. Well, next we have something. Speaking of things that are unsatisfying, we have Kyle Rittenhouse.
Kyle Rittenhouse. How dare you? He's an American hero.
And the judge hearing his case, Bruce Schroeder. Rittenhouse is
another
kid,
American hero.
Yeah,
another American.
Rittenhouse is the kid whose mom got him an AK-47 or something and drove him up to another state to shoot people at a protest.
She drove him over state lines, and when he got there, they gave him an AK-47.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
And
he was there to paint over graffiti.
Yeah.
Okay, he was there to protect businesses.
It's a bizarre story.
I remember
you and I talked about this, and I remember, and I felt this way at the time. I feel a lot less this way, but I almost felt sorry for Rittenhouse at the time because he seemed like a kid, and he seemed like he had a really fucked up mom. And if you're a kid with a fucked up mom, and your mom fills the house with Breitbart and Turning Point, whatever, and if that's your mom and your mom buys you a gun, then maybe you get fucked up a little bit and turn out that way, you know. But
yeah,
this kid has kind of like truly embraced that persona, and he's out there at bars drinking with fellow white supremacists
Proud Boys and stuff.
Yeah,
he was at some bar. This was like Thanksgiving last year. He got out of so the shooting happened like Yeah, the shooting happened like in the like late summer.
Jeez, that sounds right. I don't
Yeah, it
remember.
was in Wisconsin. It was a I don't remember the name of the person. It was an African American man who got shot in the back by a
Yep.
cop. This is post George Floyd, like during the protests and stuff. So there's still lots of protests going on, and there was a big protest in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff with Antifa, or not Antifa, but just groups,
Stuff. Yeah.
people like protesting. Supposedly there was some damage done or whatever, but we knew that a lot of these protests and everything were being infiltrated. Excuse me, being infiltrated by extreme right wing groups that were trying to take advantage, cause a lot of trouble.
Right.
He was there to do exactly that. He was not there to. They can claim that he was there to help paint all that, doing all these good deeds supposedly that he did, and none of that is true. His main goal and purpose was to agitate the people there and to shoot someone if he had
to intimidate people.
That's exactly what he was there to do. And they could try to paint a story and claim that all these things. Why is there a 17-year-old kid there with an AK-47?
Yeah.
Like, oh, and I know somebody else will be like, well, technically that's not the model. Okay, whatever. It's a fucking machine gun that he was able to blow holes in people.
Yeah.
Like the one guy so he killed 2 people and he shot and he maimed one guy. The one guy he maimed, he literally blew a hole in his arm. Like the man still has his arm, but he will have permanent damage for like the rest of his life. He was interviewed later on. He was like worlds of pain. So when this kid did this, the cops let him go. They didn't even stop him. They either kept a blind eye. They gave him like a bottle of water.
Yeah.
And then when he went home, that's when he was arrested. It was like the cops there didn't give a shit. He was there to help the cops as far as they saw it.
Yeah, and there's footage of not necessarily of them like high-fiving Rittenhouse, but like there's plenty of evidence to suggest that the cops welcomed that type of person there.
That group that he was with welcomed it. And it was a known fact that Rittenhouse contacted his friend, told people that he killed somebody. Like, I don't know if it's bragging or more like, holy shit, or whatever, who knows. There's been footage of this kid that's leaked, like him fighting with some girl. It was totally him. Everyone said it was him. Like, you could tell. And this kid just seems like a shitty person. I don't think he's like, and so he got arrested and then he was bailed out because like the right wing, you would think like normal people, the way they would see it is be like, okay, we're going to distance ourselves from this because this is kind of fucked up. Like people were killed. No, that's not what happened. The right wing used it as like almost like a call for action, a call for arms. And they like
call for donations.
Yep. Fox News, Tucker Carlson had Kyle Rittenhouse hog mom on, and she was like pleading with, like trying to act like she's the victim here, like they're the victims. And then like Ricky Schroeder, supposedly Black Rifle Coffee Company claims they didn't pay money for the bail. That's bullshit. A photo with them, and the kid was wearing a Black Rifle coffee shirt.
Yeah.
So they either helped out in some way or some form. They tried to like hide the fact that they endorsed it or whatever. I see commercials for it sometimes. I'm like, oh fuck this shitty coffee. Fuck you. So then there's just like all these other fucked up things, and then the right wing starts spreading all this misinformation about the victims. They're claiming that one of them was a pedophile.
Yeah,
there's no proof to that. I think the guy, like, there's like a, what is it? Like, what do they call it? Not a sexual predator, but like, it's very easy for someone to end up on a list. It can be for like the stupidest things that have like nothing to do with it. It's fucked. And that's where it's fucked up, because it's like, then you're on a list with like actual pedophiles.
It is a little fucked up. Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know what, but regardless, they make this guy out to be like he was fucking Chester the molester or something. Like this, and the guy's dead. Fucking Kyle Rittenhouse killed him. It's like, and then I don't know what the deal with the other guy. Exposed the other guy's a criminal, and the guy got hurt as a criminal. And Kyle Rittenhouse is zero. They'll be like, oh, they came at him, attacked him with a skateboard. Like, the guy had a machine gun.
Yeah, come on.
Like, or they threw a plastic bag got thrown on him. It's like,
Well,
so the reason why we're talking about this, though, about this piece of shit, is because the judge. So we all knew the court case was going to start in November, even though this kid's been out on bail. He should have been like thrown back in prison because of like there's been like a couple of different incidents supposedly. But this judge is like clearly a piece of shit. You said you looked him up, right? He's like a shitty judge, right?
He looks.
Can you tell me about some like different stories about him?
Well, I don't remember if I did that. I said he was on the bench for like 40 some years. He has a history of doing really stupid shit. He sentenced one woman who got caught shoplifting to, whenever she went in a store, to first find the manager and disclose that she was a shoplifter.
Yeah.
And that got overthrown on appeal and everything. But he's that kind of judge, like the big deal this time is that he won't allow anyone to refer to the dead folk as victims.
Yeah, which is insane. You just basically threw the case out.
Yeah, and the defense can call them looters and rioters, which is just bananas, because the judge's argument was that you can't call them victims because we don't know if the crime has been committed yet. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you're telling me that this
crime was committed, they're dead.
Yeah. Well, if he's telling me that he's never allowed the word victims in his courtroom, I mean, I guess sure, but I somehow doubt that's the case.
I think that's a very I mean, the whole thing is disgusting. So basically what he's doing is he's allowing the defense of Rittenhouse to basically make the court case about these victims.
Right.
The two dead people are the ones on trial now.
Yes.
And the guy who is permanently maimed, is on trial now.
Well,
they're the ones on trial, not Kyle. Kyle's the Onion put out an thing today, which is great because the Onion has a really hard job trying to do satire.
These days,
These days it's like impossible. But they had one where it says the judge rules that the lawyer, that everyone has to label Kyle as hero.
Yeah.
When they talk about Kyle Rittenhouse, it's referred to him as hero.
Well, it's really fucked up. I mean, like, I don't know. This is a great argument for term limits and for paying attention to every race you can, because you never know where these judges are going to come from. But it's just crazy. I'm stunned that there isn't some sort of governing body stepping in and taking this over from that judge who seems clearly biased.
Kid does not get, if that kid doesn't serve any time, this is a clown show. Like, I mean, that's so beyond fucked up. The right wing is going to consider this a huge victory. They're going to laugh. I mean, the fact that they like, what's so fucked up is that it's how disgusting it is that they're like, they went in all in on this kid.
Yeah.
That's what's fucked up. You would think like the thing would be to like distance yourself from the kid. Be like, ugh. We don't endorse. We don't do any of that. We have nothing. We're very honest Americans. No, they're like, no, we will reshape this and sell it. He's the hero.
Yeah.
This hog, this little hog and his hog family.
Well,
it's disgusting. It's so gross.
It is.
I did a little quick doodle of Kyle Rittenhouse. Just made his face look like a boar or whatever, and he had little hoof like hands. It's just that famous photo that went around him holding the gun. It's like an older photo of him. And they had some of these people left comments. Like, I get like people who are like, I hate that kid's a piece of shit. Or whatever. And I get these people who like leave these exactly what I said, what they say about the victims, and now Kyle's a hero and all this shit. And I'm like, you're insane. You're insane. I'm sorry. Like, it's just so gross. Or like, what's his name? Matt Walsh, the guy who I said kind of looks like you from the Daily Wire.
Yeah.
He's like a younger evil version of you.
Sure.
He said something about like defending Kyle or like that. And I wrote a thing on his Twitter that said like, if his skin was brown, he'd be saying the exact opposite right now.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that like, they're not going to set this precedent, but like, I'm sure they'd feel differently if someone showed up at a MAGA rally with a shotgun and just started popping people. You know, I mean, like that would be, and it should be a grave concern. But like this is a dead end.
This thing is so fucked up on so many levels, because one, it's like the mom, the family, the mom, like they are like part of like weird militia groups already.
Oh yeah,
that's one thing. that this kid is like some gross little like been raised with guns. Like they said he was gonna be he was like a wannabe cop. Like that people made jokes and said, you know, if he was like 18 and he could have been like already like a junior officer or whatever, he would have gotten completely away with it. If he killed people, it would have been fine. But like he there's so many factors involved why it makes it so gross, besides the fact that this kid killed people. But like you know, they'll say something like, oh, it was defense or anything, but like what the fuck was he doing there to begin with? And the mom should have been arrested. In any functioning society, the mom should have been arrested.
Yeah,
she brought him there. She knew what he was doing there.
Yeah, well, she encouraged it. She like set it up. So
it's so disgusting. It really is. It's a really bad precedent. This kid gets off in any way. I mean, at this point, I'd be shocked if he even serves 5 years.
So many of these defendants are getting a walk in the park, you know. I don't know. I'm hopeful. The defendants, like in general, I'm kind of conflating this with the January 6th people.
Oh yeah, I know. That's what's gross. It's like the same thing. It's like there's no justice, and it's like, wait, so the system allows. So if you subscribe to a right-wing ideology and you like say the right things and you listen to the right podcasts and you listen to the right and you talk to the right people, you could get away with murder.
Yeah.
Like you could get away with destroying the Capitol and killing people.
Hopefully the prosecuting attorneys make their case and this kid goes off for a while. You know, I mean, I can't think of any other outcome that would be satisfactory other than this kid getting sent up the river for a long time.
I mean, at this point, I'd be shocked if he even gets 5 years.
I don't know. Is this a jury trial? Do you know if it's a jury trial? I mean,
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I didn't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't read up a lot on it enough to like know the details. Like, what's the difference between that and a jury trial?
Well, like a jury trial, it goes to the jury, and the jury will make the decision. If it's not, then the judge just rules from the bench. So it could be that the prosecution just has to convince a jury, which you have to do anyway. They can do that even with the judge being kind of a headache. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
I just want to look that up real quick.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have to think it's a. Let's see. Yeah, it's a jury trial.
Yeah, the victims. Judge says that the people shot by Kyle Rittenhouse can be called rioters, looters, and arsonists at trial, but not victims. What the fuck?
Crazy.
Arsonists. They can be called criminals and rapists, and like, I mean, like that's it. The judge is going to say that he basically opened the door, so now the defense can say that guy is a pedophile. Like they could say all these things, and now Kyle is this great section, you know. So all the QAnon freaks will love that, or even though they are okay with pedophiles, you know, Matt Gaetz and all. I don't even. It's so disgusting.
Wow.
Sorry, not to bar the defense team from using such language to describe those who were shot. If the defense can produce evidence showing that they were participating in such activities. I mean, they're going to say it anyway. They're going to say that they were there, they were arsonists, or they were.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
It is. On a somewhat related note is the Alec Baldwin case, where Alec Baldwin.
Well, it's nothing really related.
Yeah, I guess it's a related case.
Like, it's related only because Alec Baldwin was paid to play Donald Trump on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
And he was mean
to
Donald Trump. There's no correlation between a child terrorist and the actor who's starring.
Well, that's the thing, is that the right wing has kind of made the relationship in that, like, well, Kyle Rittenhouse was just protecting the streets.
I guess it's like the sick thing when they would talk about George Floyd getting killed, and then they bring up Ashley Babbitt,
right? Well,
as you know, to say, hey, look, she was innocent. killed by the cops.
Yeah.
We ever, it's ridiculous. Okay, so what happened with Alec Baldwin?
Well, Alec Baldwin, he's on a movie set, and I guess a prop director or a prop armorer, they called it, handed him a gun and said "cold gun," which I think is supposed to indicate.
Oh, sorry. The Rittenhouse case is a jury trial.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. And so Alec Baldwin thought he had a gun loaded with blanks, and he shot at the cinematographer, I think it was, and killed her. Just shot her in the chest and killed her. And
he didn't know he had a gun.
No,
a real gun in his hand.
No, and but there's some weirdness there because he's a producer of the film too, and we don't know.
Well, the theory is that one, there was that big strike that was going to happen, and a lot of movies like this that are cheaper or whatever, they end up dealing with non-union help. They end up they're shot in areas where, like, this was shot in Santa Fe, which I was just in Santa Fe earlier this year, and it is like 45 minutes to an hour away from Albuquerque. And supposedly, like, the people that were working there were staying in Albuquerque, so you got these 15-hour shoots with hour drives back at. So 2 hours of driving a day, basically. You can probably, it doesn't matter. It's like 2 hours. And then, so you're dealing with exhausted people. You're dealing with people who don't really know what some people that don't know what they're doing. There's a lot of factors involved. Now, is Alec Baldwin guilty of killing this person? I mean, I guess if Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero, then Alec Baldwin's a mass murderer. I mean, it's like,
it is.
If we want to live in a fucked up life. I mean, no, Alec Baldwin did not kill the woman. He was giving a gun. Now, you could say, like, could he be, like, facing fines or something, or, like, who knows? I don't know. The guy's probably never going to want to act again in his life. Like, he's done. I can imagine how could you? He's known to be anti-gun.
Yep.
All these people, like, all these idiots, like, write stuff. Like, they all have comments on Twitter. Of course, the right wing had a heyday on it.
Oh, yeah.
And again, they were trying, like you said, they were trying to use whataboutism without Baldwin and Cover. Now, it doesn't even make any sense. It's like, it's so idiotic. It's like, one was a controlled movie set that fucked up. And the other thing is a little domestic terrorist harassing people during a tense time in American history.
They're just so different. I mean, I get that the basic, they both involve a shooting, sure.
Apples and rocket ships.
Yeah.
It's like they're nothing to do with each other. It's like, to bring up Alec, like, listen, if you hate Alec Baldwin or like that, that's fine. I mean, like, he's known for being kind of a douche. But, like, I don't really have much to say about it. I don't really. It's really awful. A woman's killed. Supposedly, she had, like, a long history in film. She was, like, an award-winning. I don't know what her.
I think a cinematographer. I think.
Yeah, award-winning. The director got hurt. The director was shot. I think it's a he. I'm not sure.
I believe so.
Okay, he was. I don't want to get Margaret Atwood angry. I don't want to kiss her off. Gotta make sure we label people properly. To Margaret Atwood, because she's a turf now. That was from a previous episode. You can listen to that. I don't know. I don't really have anything to say about it. I don't. It sucks. I can see him, like, never wanting to act ever again. Like,
well, he's older. He's made his money. I mean, I could see that happening pretty easily.
See this. I was talking to people about this. I was like, why do they still use these type of, like, this is the same shit. This is how fucking Brandon Lee died, but that was in 1992, 93. That's 30 years ago.
Someone posted like a little video talking about how, like, practical effects just aren't the same when you do something like this. I don't care. I mean, I can suspend my belief.
I don't care how Baldwin goes pew pew.
only reason I know what guns sound like for the most part is movies. So if you make up a new sound and tell me this is how new guns sound, I'll believe
Don't
it.
they have
You know?
like sound up like tons of gun sounds in the
Yeah.
can that they can just fucking
Yeah.
take from something? I don't get why they need to do that. Why do you need to do that?
Yeah.
And you can make you don't need a gun to shoot to make a squib.
No.
A squib is just a thing that like it. So you load a body, you put the actor or whatever, and you put squibs, and squibs are these like pads, and they pop out to show like bullet holes,
right?
And you can do that, and then have like I just don't understand why they need to still do this. Like again, and the fucked up thing about the Brandon Lee death is, again, if you read the story, it's the same thing. The movie's underfunded. They're trying to go on budget, and they get people who are not good at their job. So, did you just freeze up again? Oh,
I don't think so. Yeah.
Oh, you're good. You just got silent. You just got it. Yeah, you like. No, you froze up earlier. So
yeah.
No. Joseph's really good at staring contests.
Well, we have. I don't know. I mean, you're a couple blocks from me, but it's been terribly windy here. I wonder if that's.
Yeah. They got like I was like out earlier, and it was fine, but then it just got cold.
Yeah,
like,
it feels good, but
yeah, I don't mind. I prefer it, but like I said, so the Brandon Lee thing, it's similar though. I mean, even though again it's 30 fucking years ago,
right?
But if you look into the story, basically they again not using properly trained people to do this type of, and I'm like, what? But again, like, why do we need this anymore? People are like, oh, I don't care if it looks. I mean, like, you're telling me you can make like fake CGI water that I would never know was fake, that tricks the eye. You can make characters. You can't fucking make a fake gun noise. Like, there's enough gun noises in cinematic.
They really are. I mean, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I assume there's a reason for it. You know, I'm not in the movies to know.
I know. The only set I ever worked on was with Robert. No, what's his name? Shit, what's that guy's name?
Robert Corman.
Who?
Robert Corman.
No. What's his name? The guy from Austin Powers. He played number 2. The guy who's supposedly most likely killed Natalie Wood.
Yeah. Not Steve McQueen. Robert, was it Robert something?
Is it Robert York?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Geez, Natalie Wood. That was always kind of like a crazy story. Natalie Wood. Who was she? Oh, Robert Wagner.
Yeah, Robert Wagner. Yeah, I was working on the set of an infomercial, and he was the host of it. Yeah. And I remember my art director guy went up to me and said, whatever you do, don't bring up Natalie Wood. I was like, why did you do that? Because now that's all I'm going to ever think about. Right. I'm like, that's literally all I'm going to think about now. Yes. It's like, hey, what happened to Natalie Wood? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Imagine that. I would be like, he probably would have threw me out of a window. Probably. Yeah. He's like, I killed before and I'll do it again.
Thrown you off a boat.
Oh, shit. Oh, boom. That's fucked up, Joseph. How can you talk about Robert Wagner and a hero like Kyle Rittenhouse? True hero.
True hero.
Yeah, I don't know. The Al Baldwin thing is just like, again, it's red meat for the right.
Yeah.
But to make like
there's no comparison
about with Kyle Rittenhouse is so stupid. It's like it shouldn't even be like, if someone were to bring that up, I would just laugh them out of the room and be like, I don't understand what that has to do with anything.
Yeah. I mean, they both involve guns, I suppose, and they both involve a shooting death.
I mean, I could literally bring up everything then. Yeah. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see Al Baldwin never acting again. I could just see him there'll be many years. It's just, I just find it. I know people are like, oh, you don't work on a movie set, you don't know this. I'm like, come on, there's got to be a better way to like fucking use a gun in a movie that doesn't require like having and they show what they do. Like I used to always hear like, oh, they use blanks or whatever, but it's like, it's more than that. They literally put something in the chamber. It just doesn't have the tip.
Yeah,
It just has the cap or whatever, and the cap, it's a dummy. The tip was like removed. We're like, really? You still have to use that? Like you're still practically using a firearm. Like
they are. Yeah, it's if they're still using a firearm. You know, it's
like, bullets backfire sometimes. Like shit happens. Yeah. Like
yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand the year. I mean, even on a low budget movie, dude, there's people who could make like, there's people who could like make a movie in their living room, like
yeah, with an iPhone or something.
Insane special effects and stuff, like in programs and stuff. Or I just don't understand how in this day and age we still need to have like the mechanics of a gun and having to like use like a special bullet and all. It
makes no sense.
I like. There's sounds in, you can literally download the sound of a gun. Gun noises. Like there's,
yeah.
I don't know. Oh, clearly you're not a filmmaker. Okay.
A cinephile. Yeah.
And clearly you don't understand the Dune half movie. You know what Dune 1 should have been called? It's a half a movie.
Huh.
Duh.
Nice.
That should right now the movie's called Duh and Until or Do
yeah
until, and I guess the second movie we'll call Meh.
Yeah. Well, we have I'll move us on to the next one, which is kind of another
okay, that's fine.
Another depressing one. Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema still running the Senate. There's a whole flurry of stuff today where they talked about Joe Manchin, like Kristen Sinema finally agreed to tax billionaires. And then Joe Manchin was like, okay, I'll go along with that too, but only if we get rid of like childcare subsidies to single moms or something. It was just like some weird thing. And then I don't know if you saw this late in the day.
No, what? Maybe.
Kristen Gillibrand and two other women cornered Manchin on the Senate floor and started like reaming him because he was going to take paid leave off for women or something. And then he apparently changed his mind at the end of it. It's pretty dramatic stuff. You know, that you can see them.
We're gonna literally rip your balls off.
Well, you can see them.
You can like you can leave here, but you're not going to be bringing your testicles with you.
It was an odd thing, and it's kind of a cool picture. It said, let me see, what is it? It says, Senator Patty Murray joins Gillibrand in refusing to accept news that Manchin is forcing paid leave out of the bill. Her quote was, "We're not going to allow one or two men to tell women, millions of them in this country, that they can't have paid leave." And then I think they got him to change his mind at the end. I guess it's this such a fast moving story, but
I mean, this guy was like, okay, so the billionaire, he was like against the billionaire tax thing or whatever. It's like, first of all, if you're talking about 700 people like in the country or something like that who are can be qualified as a billionaire, supposedly, right? Yeah. Which I'm like, doesn't seem like a lot, but that is a lot.
It's
like
there
shouldn't be 700 billionaires. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Call me a communist, but I don't know. I just think it's a little. Regardless, someone brought up a really good point on Twitter. Someone said it's weird that Manchin would be against a billionaire tax when there's literally no billionaires that live in West Virginia.
Yeah, right.
Like, why does those senator of West Virginia care about something that like doesn't affect his constituents? Like that. And now again, maybe there is a billionaire in West Virginia. I don't. But according to this person who said that, he said there's no billionaires who live in West Virginia.
Right.
So unless they're going to go buy a house and claim they live there tomorrow, which they probably could if they wanted to.
It's just bizarre, like the stuff Joe Manchin is fighting for. You know, I mean, it's hard to make heads or tails of why he's making those decisions.
He's in the pocket of corporations, just like cinema. It's not that complicated. Like they're just incredibly corrupt, and they're working in tandem with the Republican Party. I mean, like Did you see that video going around a cinema walking with Tim Scott? And
Yeah.
then this woman tries to talk to her and she
She's
just
like,
like
don't touch me.
ignores her. She like ignores this woman who's like pleading to her. And she just says, like, Tim Scott, oh, does this happen to you all the time? And Tim Scott's like, it's part of the job. Like, she sucks, dude. She's
aggressively bad.
She like, and they're just getting worse.
Yeah. Manchin, like I said, we're not going to get a more progressive candidate out of West Virginia. Plus, Manchin is who he is. You know what Manchin's going to do.
Yeah, but you still can expect more. I mean, like, cinema is definitely an enigma. It's just like
it's something.
It's so corrupt. Like, today the vest was she was wearing some like weird jean vest with like a black t-shirt.
Yeah.
And she was like the head of the Senate today or something. So it was just like super bizarre. And Aaron Neville tweeted and said like he did it better or something.
Yeah. So
Aaron Neville he's a famous singer, and he was always famous for wearing like a black t-shirt with a blue denim vest.
Yeah.
And she literally stole his wardrobe today.
Someone tweeted like that Kristen Sinema's preparing her Neville what's the guy's name? Neville
Aaron Neville?
Yeah, Aaron Neville costume for Halloween, and he tweeted back that he wore it better. It was really kind of funny.
That's
oh jeez.
But it's like, again, I don't even care about that stuff. If she was like if she actually like, I don't know, wasn't a horrible ghoul, then I'd be like, yeah, who cares? I don't care what she did. She could wear a pickle barrel.
Right. Yeah.
But because she's like, thumbs downs on like freaking minimum wage and like just shits on everything and is like impossible to deal with, doesn't deal with constituents. So it makes her shitty attire look even more classless. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really give a fuck about like that pageantry shit. I always think like, I never cared about that stuff. Like, I was like, I mean, like, yeah, you should, on occasion, yes, you should look presentable. Sure. You should do this. But like, I could care less if she did this stuff, if she actually was like, and I guarantee you, if she was a progressive senator, if she was actually a progressive senator, the media would give her so much shit. Much more shit for her clothing attire.
Yeah.
So much more. They'd be like hounding the fuck out of her.
Yeah. It's frustrating to see these two kind of run roughshod over the Democrats. I don't know that the Democrats have any options here, but it sucks.
It just hurt. I think it just hurts the Democrats altogether. Like on down ballot and everything. I think it makes it, again, it creates that narrative that dipshits like to use, like, oh, they're all the same, or they're not. Like, no, they're not. There's just like there's like really horrible. There's a couple of really horrible people, like in the Democrats now.
And we go ahead.
No, that's it. I mean, it's just they make it look bad. They make the entire party look bad.
Well, it's funny, and we can keep talking about Sinema and Manchin, but the next topic we were going to talk about too was the Virginia governor's race, and they're fucking that up for the Democrats too, because if the Democrats were able to be delivering on their promises, then the Virginia governor race would probably look a lot different. The Democrat might be far ahead, because when you elect Democrats, things get done and policies go out to help people and whatnot. But that's not exactly been what's happening. They're the primary reason for it. And now Terry McAuliffe is in this kind of neck and neck race with some bizarro creature from the depths in Virginia.
Like, this should not have been a real problem.
No, but Biden won that state by 10 points. Virginia's been solidly blue for a long time.
Yeah, it's like a consistency of having blue governors for the past couple. Like, the interesting about Virginia, they only could serve one term. I guess they could space it out, because wasn't McAuliffe governor once already?
I would have guessed that he was. I don't know that for a fact.
Like, is it like you have to space him out or something? I don't know.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
It's been tough. I know the Virginia politics have been in turmoil, and the governor has had, not this governor, but previous governors have had like ethics and criminal problems and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is, Virginia is a blue state Biden won it just a year ago by 10 points. A Democrat should be able to walk to victory in there, you know. And it's like this is like trying to fight for uh, New Mexico or Hawaii or states that you shouldn't.
Because it is such a because this is an off-year election, but there's still a couple major seats. You got the New York City mayor. You have this one. I think Jersey is also up.
Could be
Jersey governor. And these should be walks in the park, and they should have like really no focus. But what will happen is, if the Republican wins in Virginia, it'll create a narrative that the media will gladly take and use to try to make it that like Biden's weak, Biden's losing control, the Republicans are going to take over the House, they might take control of the Senate, all kinds of nonsense, all because of this one one governance seat. And it is important. It's almost really important they make sure that these states have blue governors, because with everything going on with the fucking elections this potential Republican governor can fuck up the election and give a seat to whoever runs in the Republican Party.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's getting more so that way than less so.
Now this guy like claims he's not MAGA though, right? Isn't that like the thing? Isn't like this guy like trying to pull this shit?
Yes, but he is as MAGA as they come. He has literally told people, you know what, we're going to start out nice and easy, but once I get elected, then we're going to have an abortion ban. Then we're going to have, private schools paid for with tax dollars. Then we're going to outlaw masks. Then we're going to, it's the same shit over and over again with these people. But
again, I think it's ridiculous because it's like Manchin and Sinema should have nothing to do with this fucking race. Yeah. So you could also look at it and go, okay, well, McCall's fucking up then. I mean, what is he doing this should be like a walk in the park. No, the state of Virginia does not want this. No, the state of Virginia wants to protect women's rights. The state of Virginia wants to be safe during a pandemic. The state of Virginia does not want MAGA,
there is some weirdness here. Like there is, and we've seen this in our own lives and everything. There's a legitimate group of people out there that really hate mask mandates, that really hate all that. They don't believe in the coronavirus or whatever. And they are infuriated that their kids have to wear a mask to school. And these people are super high energy, high attendance voters. They always show up to vote.
They're super violent and they're super aggressive.
Yeah, they are, and so you have, you can't just assume good people will show up to the polls to beat the bad people, because that's not always true. There may be more good people that you may be correct in that, like, more people are okay with mask mandates, but that's not really who gets counted. It's who shows up on election day.
Yeah.
And these chunks always show up.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. It's not till, what is it? It's next week?
Next Tuesday.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll happen early enough in the day that I'm sure I'm sure a lot of it's bullshit. I bet you McAuliffe will still win. It might not be as much as a margin that they want or anything, but
I think McAuliffe will win. There's apparently a lot of mail-in ballots already in, and most of those are Democrat. It's hard to say. I mean, like that's the sad truth of it is the outcomes will either be McAuliffe wins, and all the Republicans will claim he cheated.
How? Oh, they just cheated.
They just will. Yep.
Yeah.
Or McAuliffe loses and the Republicans run roughshod over Virginia for 4 years. Those are the only two options. Neither. I mean, obviously the first one's better than the second one, but the first one comes with another 4 years of these shitheads claiming election fraud and this and.
I mean, they're going to do that anyway. They're going to do that. It looks like that is literally going to be the narrative.
Yeah.
Probably till the day we die. Like they'll never be. You'll never not hear them say that ever again. And the fucked up thing. What's fucked up about this is, and this is when I said that Republicans are really good at doing this, and the right wing is really good at this, is taking grievances that usually people on the left have and twisting it and So the whole dishonest election thing, I mean, there's obviously been cases of dishonest election probably since the beginning of this country, but the most major one was George W. Bush in 2000, and the Supreme Court literally handing him the presidency, and the right wing preventing the recount from happening. People for years, there's been a real big grievance on elections and stuff like that, and the right was able to take that and twist it with unfounded like there's people who believe that Donald Trump won.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that believe that. Yeah,
they have no proof. They have no proof whatsoever. Nothing. The numbers are too great to show that he. It's ridiculous. It's like ridiculous to have this conversation, but that's what they do. They use those grievances and they twist it. So and they have nothing to run on. So they don't run on anything. They don't run on anything real. They're not gonna. What are they gonna do? They're run on like the environment. They're against.
Yeah, they're against
like doing anything for the environment. They're gonna run on. Like the joke is, as much as we hate Cinema and Mansion, at least like there's something happening.
Oh yeah,
as you know, like I know that's such a sad low bar.
But you're right.
Be that way. But
and this
go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just this also bleeds into what we're talking about next too, is that it just keeps getting more and more violent, and it's
I mean, like before you, like the joke is like the conversation, like people don't realize that like they're talking about real things, like things that benefit people. I mean, it seems like every day it just gets worse and worse. But like if it was just Republicans running right now, they'd just be talking about how we could get a bigger tax cut in.
Yeah, that's true.
And how we're gonna make it illegal to burn the flag or something stupid on top of it. That's exactly what they would be doing right now. And everyone would just be like, yeah, the Republicans suck. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be like, all right. So yeah. So you were saying about go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, the violence thing, you have like as we're waiting for the Virginia election to wrap up, which happens in about a little under a week, you have Manchin and Sinema kind of fucking things up on the Democratic side. You have Trump in the background talking about stolen election, this, that, and whatever. And then you have idiots like Charlie Kirk having these little meetings where people get up and say, when do we get to shoot Democrats?
That's literally, yeah. So Charlie Kirk what he said. TTP thing. And some guy who, and the funny thing is, it's just like a kid. He looks like a college student. He doesn't look like some crazy person. He looked like just a regular, everyday white kid in America who would probably attend like a TTP thing.
They found
go ahead.
No, they found his name. It's Zachary Edward Fettel, and he's, I guess, a failed stand-up comedian. Yeah.
So he thought do you think he was being funny?
No, I think he was being serious. He's got like a long history of being like pretty aggro like this. But yeah, it doesn't even faze Charlie Kirk. He's just like, oh yeah, well, I don't know if that'd be the most effective, but man,
yeah, he was only concerned about the language that he was using. Like, so he was talking, and then that guy started talking about like, I mean, I could find the clip. We could play it.
Yeah. Let me see if it's a crazy clip. And I think the weird part is it didn't even seem that weird. I was like, oh, I hear shit like this all the time at those types of events,
Yeah, because you accept it now.
Yeah.
Because you've been like broken down, It's like what do they call it? Like the
desensitization.
Yeah, you've been desensitized to it. You're willing to accept. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Fascism. This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns? No, I'm not. That's not a joke. I'm not saying it like that. I mean, literally, where's the line? How many elections are they going to steal before we kill these people?
So no, no, hold on. No, stop. Hold on. Now I'm going to denounce that. I'm going to tell you why. Because you're playing into all their plans, and they're trying to make you do this.
Fascism.
All right, that's not the full clip, but you kind of get the point. Of course, Charlie Kirk doesn't want give away the game. I don't even think Charlie, and honestly, I don't think even Charlie Kirk wants to get to that point where people are getting killed. Charlie Kirk just wants to boil the water because
he
that's
just
what
wants to make money off of it.
That's what his job is. His job is to rile people up so they attend his rally, so they sign up, so he makes more money.
Yeah.
It's like a shock jock or any of these other people. Claim you're being attacked, claim you're doing this, claim the only way to help is if you sign up. The only way is if you subscribe. It's just to gin up numbers and to get more revenue in his pocket. So then but thing is, you're talking serious things and talking about things that play into real people's lives.
Yeah.
And when you start doing things like that, you get a guy like that. And I think that guy is not the abnorm. He's the norm. He's the norm of what those people think. They were all cheering him on.
Laughing and cheering, yeah.
Charlie Kirk is one, he helped fund January 6th. So I'm sure he would like to make sure people don't really know that. And two, he wants to also, liability. He doesn't want to be liable for this guy or some other nut. Like, I don't think this guy's just an asshole.
He's just clown. Yeah.
He's not going to shoot anybody. He is a fucking coward clown who's just there to, like you said, he's a failed comedian.
Yeah.
And
the people, there are. Go ahead. No, there are people that will shoot, but they're not the ones talking about it at a meeting. They're going to be like a Rittenhouse where their mom drops them off in a city with a gun.
There was look at the Tree of Life. That was that was 3 years ago.
I saw the anniversary was like yesterday.
And they said that's what was so fucked up is this Charlie Kirk thing happened like literally like on the anniversary of Tree of Life. Tree of Life was some guy who was like who went on Gab.
Yep.
I think it was Gab. And he was just like a fucking hated the Jews so much. And he said didn't think Donald Trump was doing enough and went into a temple and shot it up. And then what did Donald Trump say when he was interviewed? He said that like, oh, that's a shame. Like, people need to be armed. So he's like, what? So when I go to temple or church or any of these house of worship, I have to be armed. Like, isn't that the whole point? Is sanctuary? Like these places. That's what their main point is. Donald Trump's a fucking asshole and an idiot. But like, that's what these guys do, though. They're more concerned. Like Donald Trump just wants to sell hats and shirts. He doesn't give a fuck about. He really doesn't give a shit about policy. No, but it's true. He doesn't really give a fuck about policy. He doesn't give a fuck about policy. Make America great. It's a slogan. Everything is just a grift. He's trying to like make like his own social media now. Like only like, which I think is already failing. Is like another right wing bullshit like Twitter, Parler, or any of these like I mean, at the end of the day, it's all a grift, it's all shock jocks, and that's all they are. They're just shock jocks. But the thing is, they don't care that there's real life consequences. So yeah, you're right. Like that guy will probably be the person. He's not going to shoot anybody. No. He's an asshole. He should have a talking to. Have a talking to.
They should pull him aside and say, "Yeah, hey, let's talk about what you said."
And also, like Charlie Kirk should be like, "That guy's never welcome to it." Yeah. What's this group called again?
Is it Turning Points or something?
Yeah, Turning Points USA. Yeah. He should. I mean, that's what he should say. Is like that guy's no longer welcome.
Yeah, but he can't. He can't say that.
Yeah, because then he would lose. Like that guy is. It's like they created the monster, and the more they get, the deeper they go, the worse it gets. And I hate to bring it up because we fucking talked about this asshole before, and I don't want to. But it is almost very similar. So Chappelle now is crying about supposedly like he has some documentary he was working on and he can't get or like some bullshit. He's like trying to act like he's the victim of this whole anti-trans thing that he does. But again, it's like the same thing. You feed into a narrative of hate. And that hate grows, and then it gets and then that ball gets taken by even worse people who say things, and then you have dead trans people, or you have dead women. You have some nut kills a person thinking they're trans just because maybe they didn't fit whatever version of. That's not. I guarantee you that will happen. People are nuts, but it's like all that shit stems down. Now you could say, "Oh, is this person responsible for the?" the death or whatever. It's like, I mean, it's like saying, okay, no, but you can like turn the heat down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you can like use different rhetoric. You know, try not to act like every like TP turn point test to like act like everything is the blood of our founding fathers are being destroyed. You know, with what the libs are doing. You know, like everything's like a fucking incoming disaster. Everything's like a. I mean, I guess the argument could be like, oh, the left does that or something like that. But because there we do care about like the environment. That's a real incoming disaster. Yep. It's not even an incoming, it's here.
It is relentless with all this kind of crazy little snippets of bad news. Like it's really Ted Cruz coming out and defending the Nazi salute. You know,
so Ted Cruz, I guess in the hearing or something with the
Merrick
Attorney
Garland.
General. They were talking. I just saw. I mean, I could probably find that clip real quick.
Well, the setup was it was a wide range of questions. So they were asking Garland pretty much about a bunch of topics, and one of the topics was the memo where he directed federal law enforcement to work with officials regarding threats to school board members, and Josh Hawley and Mike Lee were going on and on about how they can't believe that the government is monitoring parents and that no parents have ever threatened a school. It's just like bullshit.
Like, have you seen that's a complete lie because you've seen those videos. Those people are nuts.
Right. And then Ted Cruz gets up there and says, again, you know, you're interfering with freedom of speech. And he's like,
if you want to hear it.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it. Okay.
We'll let the GOAT, the real, you know, the GOAT.
Sure.
He's not a GOAT. He's the stuff that comes out of the goat's butt.
I did a quick count just sitting here. During this hearing, I counted 20 incidents cited. Of the 20, 15 on their face are nonviolent. They involve things like insults. They involve a Nazi salute. That's one of the examples. My God, a parent did a Nazi salute at a school board because he thought the policies were oppressive. General Garland is doing a Nazi salute at an elected official. Is that protected by the First Amendment?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I did a quick count just sitting here. During this hearing,
I would kind of wish Merrick Garland goes, instead of saying yes, it is, but I wish he kind of said yes, it is, but I would use better judgment not to.
Garland's
I think you can I feel like you can throw your 2 cents in just to be like, yeah, it is protected. Like you can do that, but like, should you?
Well, that's the thing is that like, nobody's saying that these people should be chucked in jail tomorrow. Except me, I'm probably saying that. But like no one is saying like, oh, throw them all in prison. Garland is just saying like, look, we've had death threats, anti-Semitic threats, all these types of things. Maybe we should check it out. That's what he's saying. Maybe we should check it out. If a school board member says, hey, someone's shouting death threats at me and talking about like Nazi symbolism and whatever,
or they watched the footage from that, wasn't that in Wisconsin or something, or what state was that in?
I thought that was Tennessee, the real bad one.
Yeah, the one where they were assaulting people in the parking lot. Yeah, that's worthy of investigation.
Just check it out. Maybe nothing happened. It's no big deal if nothing happened. You'd say,
yeah. What are you worried about, Ted? What are you worried about?
Well, that's
why is Ted Cruz defending a Nazi thing? Like he's like, is that an American right? I mean, like.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like
you should say, even Ted Cruz should be like, well, I don't agree with that. You should say that. Like, fuck, that guy sucks ass. Yeah. He's the worst. He literally is the goats. He's literally I don't even want to insult the turds that come out of a goat.
Well, it's just
they're packed with more nutrients and do more things for society than Ted Cruz will ever do.
It's just so relentless that they will sit there. Chuck Grassley spent his entire time today asking Merrick Garland why he wasn't investigating Hunter Biden's art production or something. Seriously.
Oh yeah, they try to make a big thing about it, like how Hunter Biden did some art and people paid money for it, and it's like, yeah,
they'll sit there.
Who cares?
And say, how dare you investigate these death threats? How dare you investigate these death threats?
Yeah,
well,
the real problem.
Yeah, is Hunter Biden sold that picture of the pirate for, you know, 20,000.
I just like pictured the pirate in the beginning of the SpongeBob. Hello, I'm under the sea, SpongeBob, like that pirate.
He sold that for like 20,000 Bitcoin. Like where's the investigation to Hunter Biden?
I'd be like, what does this have to do with people? School board members being threatened? Are they is Hunter Biden threatening them with his art? Like,
they want every bit of minutia about any Democrat investigated.
It's also a distraction. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it is tiring, but that's exactly what they're doing.
The point.
The main point is not, they don't really want an investigation. I mean, they would love it. They would, because they would, nothing would get done then.
Yeah.
But that's really it. They're literally saying, we're not willing to work with you, first of all, because we are like just not living in the same reality as you.
Yep.
And we're here just like fuck up everything. And everything is it's all whataboutism. It's all, everything's a curveball. Everything's meant to like the fact that Ted Cruz is like the good, honest Americans that once in a while like to salute Hitler.
Right.
You know? Like, what?
Right.
Yeah, dude, it's just gonna get worse. Like, it's really funny how, like, again, someone like posted a picture of, was it like someone retweeted from 5 years ago, whatever, Hillary Clinton's like birthday picture where she posted a picture of her little girl, and it said, and in the tweet said like future president, whatever.
Right.
And this guy, of course, was making fun of her in the tweet. And I wrote, you know what? It's a tragedy that she wasn't president.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, she wouldn't have been perfect. She would have been terrible in a lot of ways. But I'll tell you this, though. Since Trump's been president, Nazism has, like, reared its ugly head. He has become more Nazi, not Nazism, like, as in, like, but like Nazi like rhetoric, and outright bigotry and all that stuff that came with Trump, that would have not have been able to flourish as much under Clinton. It just wouldn't. You wouldn't have the president of the United States you wouldn't have Stephen Miller in the White House. You know, you wouldn't have Steve Bannon in the White House. It's like, as I saw this person say that because they just want to make fun of Hillary Clinton. I'm just like, okay, like, the joke's on us. Like,
well, that's it. Yeah.
We would have a better environmental agenda. Like, it's like there's so much. I don't know. The country, like I said, would the American people be better off if Hillary Clinton was president? You know, in a big picture, yeah. On a really big picture, yeah. Like, I don't. That's just the truth. I'm sorry. Like, she may not. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know what she would have been.
We'll never know.
But you know, it's like the same thing with like Al Gore's president. We don't know, but I think the world would be a much better place.
Yeah,
environmentally, I think environmentally it would be a better place. We don't know. Was that it? Was there any other things we were talking about?
The last thing we were going to mention, we had kind of said we don't have much to say about it, but we're going to talk a little bit about Facebook. There were kind of.
Well, I mean, this all leads into Facebook too, with the verbiage. Okay, go ahead.
Well, there's the three, and these have all kind of leaked out before and have been discussed before, but with Facebook being in the news a lot, these several things kept coming to light. And the first was that one of the executives there had been hosting a lot of parties for Brett Kavanaugh. And
recently?
This was a couple of years ago, but they're talking about it again. In that a lot of the Zuckerberg had some big Republican names over to his place for dinner and stuff. So the power structure at Facebook is real heavily pro-Republican.
It is. Yeah.
So, and the second thing that got mentioned was that they have this system for rewarding posts that reward angry faces and kind of less less significantly reward thumbs up and hearts, so that if it's an angry face reaction, then it gets a lot more traction than a good one. And then the last piece of information is that they had kind of like aggregated all the media, and they were trying to keep things fair and balanced, and they had Fox kind of listed as a middle of the road moderate source, including Hannity and the rest of them. And they had Breitbart and CNN as kind of being co-equally liberal.
Okay, the idea that CNN is liberal or left-leaning is
it's ridiculous.
I would say it's moderate at best, leaning right.
Yeah.
And by I mean right-wing, not like stupid right-wing, like
no, it's just it's a conservative news outlet.
Shit, but more like leaning. I would say leaning towards corporate interests.
Yeah,
that's
which is which is status quo conservative.
But the problem is, see, the right wing, what they've been wanting to do for years is try to create. There's two different right wings that we have in this country. We have corporate right wing, which is really the moderates, but it's right wing because it favors the bosses, favors the businesses,
right.
And then you have cultural right wing, which is all the dumb shit that keeps people stupid enough to vote for people who favor the bosses, favor the corporate. But CNN, so if you look at the picture and you say, well, yeah, of course CNN is liberal. It's left-leaning, it's crazy. Because on a cultural level, it's not the dumb shit, the Fox and Breitbart and all that push. But the idea that Fox could be considered, what did they say, liberal?
They said, no, Fox was like in the moderate column.
Yeah,
like a middle of the road.
That is disgustingly ridiculous. Let me tell you, I never watch Fox. I've seen clips and everything like that. But one time, a couple of years ago, it was when they were pushing the tax cuts or whatever in the United States. I got forced to watch Fox News in a waiting room. And I watched it for like 45 minutes while I'm waiting for my car. And I really wanted to eventually I did turn it off. I told the guy, like, I'm not watching this shit anymore. And the guy's like, thank you. I was like, why are we watching this shit? But it was literally a 45-minute infomercial for the Trump administration.
Oh, yeah.
The Trump agenda. Fucking, what's that beast? Huckabee's daughter.
Cheryl?
No, Cheryl. Huckabee's daughter.
It's not Cheryl. Huckabee. Cheryl. Who am I thinking of? Sarah Huckabee.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Not Bruce. Yeah. Moose Huckabee. Moose Huckabee.
She was great as Gomer Pyle in that Full Metal Jacket movie.
she was great as one of the babies, the weird man babies in Nothing But Trouble. That John Candy.
Yes, right.
Dan Aykroyd classic.
Just like
really, go ahead, what?
Just like Rittenhouse was great as the pig soldier from Fifth Element.
Yes. Sarah Huckabee was great as the guy, the person who befriends Chunk in Goonies.
Right. Sloth.
Yeah, she was so good in that. Great. Really
she was.
Shame
said, about her politics.
Guys. What?
Shame about her politics, but she was great in that. She was
right. Beloved character in the movies.
Yeah.
If you could just separate, sometimes you just gotta separate the artist from the art.
Yeah.
And this is a case where I'm willing to do that.
Huckabee's good enough for me. Good enough.
Sloth is good enough. That should be it. Okay. So I watched it for like a minute, for like 40 minutes or whatever, and it was like straight up 100% Republican talking points.
Yeah.
They spent like 20 minutes trashing Hillary Clinton, who was not president.
Right.
It was like they just demonized her. They made her out like this woman. It was like Ainsley Asshart, wherever it is.
Yeah.
Anus Asshart. I think that's her name. Anus Asshart. I'm pretty sure. Like Rhinus Penis.
Right.
Dan Bongo Congo was on. And they were just like Dan Bongo Gino, Dan Congo Bongo Gino,
right?
Said when they were talking about like people get like $1,000 something, he was like, "Yeah, you can look at $1,000. Shut the fuck up. Don't worry, you'll get it. Shut the fuck up. Go away.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you'll get $1,000. Shut up. Shut up. It's like a bully. It's like,
right.
Shut up. It was awful. I was like, I'm like, this is what people watch. Of course they're fucking nuts.
Yeah, fuck that.
Of course they're insane. Like if you're watching that shit every day,
yeah, for years,
you really do need to have your head examined. It is fucking poison. Like it's poison. I'm sorry. So the idea that Facebook would say that they're moderate is just shows you.
Facebook is like the background to a lot of people's lives. I mean, like even if
nothing screams moderate like Tucker Carlson,
but it seeps into your everyday life. Like I know plenty of older people that to them Facebook is the internet, you know, and they go on there and if they see these stories recycled over and over again, you know, COVID vaccine misinformation or election and misinformation, they just accept it as truth, you know.
It's like and the funny thing is the right for years would try to push this bullshit, and I would see Joe Rogan pushing it. I consider he's right wing. He's a right wing host.
Oh yeah.
He was pushing this narrative that Silicon Valley, that the social media companies and everything, they're liberal. And
right. Yeah.
Like, wait, in what way? How are they liberal? There's nothing liberal about them. Like, what? Maybe a couple people in the art department. Maybe like these companies are run by the same kind of these companies are run by the same kind of people who run oil companies. There's no difference. It's just a different thing they're selling. They would sell cigarettes. They would sell Facebook. There's nothing progressive about it. What? Because it's modern technology. There's a liberal bent. Fuck out of here.
They're confusing users too with the company. Like it's entirely possible they see a biased liberal source on their page. That could happen. But the thing is, on aggregate, conservative voices are amplified, liberal voices are muffled. That's just that's true.
And the other thing too is that that's a fact. I know that from experience.
Yeah, right.
It's the idea that these companies are liberal in any way is hysterical. They rely on stocks. They rely on big business. They're in it for huge lots of money. They're billion. Yeah. Peter Thiel. That's the guy who screams liberal. Like, you know, name the people, all the big wigs and stuff, and tell them, you know, you find I want to know where the liberal is. The guy who owns Twitter, Jack, whatever his name is.
Jack Dorsey, yeah.
That guy's fucking right-wing libertarian. Like, there's nothing progressive about him at all. Like, what? He doesn't want to stone women. I mean, like, what do you know what I mean? They're conflating, again, it's like the same thing. It's conflating the dumb cultural right-wing narratives that have really nothing to do with the real actual agenda. And so if these companies, if Jack Dorsey or something doesn't say the same shit that Ted Cruz says, then I guess then Jack Dorsey must be some moderate progressive. Or
there are certainly some
reality. What?
There's certainly some less offensive billionaires than others, right? I mean, like.
But I mean, like the idea that to say that any of these people are progressive. So of course, I can see dumbasses saying that because, like, they're not pushing the narrative of like. Or it's like, oh yeah, they're progressive because they kicked Alex Jones off of like their stations, and it's like, well, they had to because he was getting people killed, and he was making millions while doing it, and they didn't want to be held liable for it. They're not going to do with the politics. No. If they had something to do with the politics, guess what? He never would have been on.
Right, absolutely.
Alex Jones would have been never. They would have listened to his show once, and they'd be like, "Fuck that, not on the air."
Yeah,
not on my 87 gender channel. Or, you know, like, no, that's not it at all. They're more like, oh, this guy gets like 5 million views a day.
Yeah, sign him up.
I love him. Yeah, sign him up, and I hope he brings in a bunch of more people like him. You know, it's like all these shock jocks. They always claim for years they would always be like, oh, you know, they're trying to kick me off the air, man. All they do is sign up. Sign up, man. It's the only way to stop the man is to listen to me, take the side of the man. I mean, it's like if YouTube was progressive in any way, which they are not, Google and all that, Steven Crowder would not be big. Daily Wire would not be big. Daily Wire, the Ben Shapiro is friends with like fucking Zuckerberg, right? Isn't that like? I think so, that was the deal. Yeah, right. The joke was that when Facebook was down for like almost a day. It was just like down, like it didn't work, nothing loaded.
Right, that was just like a week or two ago.
Yeah, everyone was making jokes about like Dan Bongino and that's that guy's actual name is Dan Bongino.
Yeah, you guys got a rectangular shaped head.
He looks like a bad guy from Gumby, like blockhead from Gumby. Dan Congo Bongo Bondingo Bajingo and Ben Shapiro were probably very upset that day.
Okay.
When Facebook didn't work, because they are.
Oh yeah.
That's where they get. That is really where they're most That's where they're most effectual is on Facebook. That's where they get the biggest reach.
Yeah,
they're in the top 10. They fall. Dan Bongino falls. He is like number 1 on Facebook. Dan Bongino. Oh, and then what did we say also that day? There was probably like a good amount of people who were like, I am going to get vaccinated today.
Yeah.
It wasn't delivered informational poison today because the site that delivers garbage to me was working. And now my head is clear for 1 second. I'm going to go get vaccinated.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to tell my kid I love them.
Well, whatever it takes, right?
I mean, again, all this stuff, it's not a shock. It's like, oh my God, a company makes money off of controversy. Oh
yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not a shock.
Who would have thought? You don't want to buy this product. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like when studios put like, they purposely make sure to leak out like, they put in like a transgender character or something like that. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. But no, it's great because it's great marketing because all the right wing are going to go fucking insane over it. They're going to talk about it. It's going to be endless videos. It's a ton of marketing. Now everyone knows about this movie that no one knew about it the day before. And it's all free marketing. Cool, man. We live in a good hell world.
I was just saying, like, that's like
a episode. It's a good episode.
Literally feel a weight on my shoulders.
I think the only positive thing that I could say from this episode was that like we're gonna have a different voice for Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all we have. That's all we have to look forward to, guys. Is that we're gonna get a Buzz Lightyear voice and we don't have to worry about Tim and we got a half a movie.
Yeah. Well, Dune 2. I'm looking forward to Dune 2. I think that'll be good.
Dune 2, the ending.
The Dunening.
I think they should just call it the other half, or like the rest of
it.
Dune, the rest. Or
the rest of Dune.
Hey, remember when you were like, when the movie ended and you were like, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, here you go.
Right.
It'd be awesome if it actually is not. It is like a third. Like
that would be funny.
Like that'd be hysterical.
I doubt that's the case. I'll bet you they wrap up the movie in the next one. I'll bet you it's real good too.
I'm just fucking with you. Yeah. I hope it's more long shots and just Chalamet. What's his name? Chalamet?
Timothy Chalamet. Chalamet.
I swore, was he like in a boy band or something? Or am I mixing him up with the guy from One Direction? Or
he looks like he would be in a boy band, but
that's what I think. I think that's what irks me the most about him is he reeks of like One Direction or that kind of stuff.
Well, he was in, and I tend to agree with you. I don't necessarily love him as an actor or anything, but he was in Lady Bird, which I thought was really good, and I liked him in it. Did you ever see Lady Bird?
I did. I don't remember him in it at all. Did he look different in it?
He did look different to me. I'm not a great person with what people look like.
I have a hard time. I can't tell. Is he like 5'1" or 6'2"?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me see. He is
because in the movie in Dune, I had a hard time gauging. Like I know Oscar Isaac is a short guy. I know that.
Right.
And what's his face is and I'm gonna leave this here. This is what's his face should only have facial hair. You know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about the Baron, Harkonnen?
No, not him. No, he's supposed to look like oatmeal.
Yeah.
If anything, my complaint about the movie is he didn't look gross enough. I mean, maybe he'll be grosser in the sequel.
Could
he just
be.
looked like he just looked like the Kingpin or something. He
Yeah.
didn't look as like threatening. Maybe in the second movie, like when he was like in his little black pool, he looked kind of gross in that. Yeah, he was just like, yeah. I like his voice. It's like he was evil because he's like, I talk like this, so I must be. What if he's nice? Why do evil people sound like? Why can't an evil person be like, I love to pet dogs? Visit orphanages and give them gifts.
Shal Malay is 5'10", and I don't know the answer to the sounding question.
Okay, that makes sense. I believe. Okay, all right. I was like hard to gauge. I'm like, he seems so slight, but for all I know, like I'd walk in a room and he would like tower.
No, I think he's an average height. You know.
Jason Momoa is what I was talking about. Like in the beginning of the
movie, yeah.
He's like Aquaman. He's like, what up, bro? And then like later in the movie, he's just like, he just doesn't like. It's hard. Like every big thing he's been in, he usually has facial hair.
Yeah,
he just does.
He did look I didn't recognize him at first.
I thought it was a different actor at first. Yeah, I think he needs to keep the goatee.
He's 6'4".
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He needs to always have like the goatee. Like that should be like his signature. His face looks weird. I don't know. It's like a different person.
Well, I thought it was really weird that he didn't keep facial hair because part of the story is he's supposed to be also with the Fremen. He's supposed to be like have a dual allegiance, the Fremen and the Duke. So I thought he would have gone like
that.
Yeah, he was. The Fremen trusted him. He was like a trusted person amongst them. So
I'm actually shocked though that did we talk? I don't think we talked about that. I know we're gonna wrap this up in 2 seconds. But like I'm shocked that the whole white savior thing was not like brought up more. And we talked about it before we talked.
Yeah.
We didn't bring it up in this episode. That the whole like it just now I know in the book and everything, some guy brought up like how like he it's like almost like the character in a way, like based on real religions. It's like the character Paul like basically converts to Islam.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
Some theory, like, and that he is converting. He's like one of them, but it still reeks of like the whole white savior thing. Like, you know, there was like this great TikTok I saw somebody like this girl. She's like showing. I don't know. She was talking about like how they're advertising how diverse the cast is, and then and then all of a sudden Paul shows up and it's like he's like, "Hi, I'm Paul."
Well, in defense of the book, the
book is like 50 years old.
Yeah, but the story is basically like Paul tries to mold. He tries to like use the Fremen, but the Fremen kind of overtake him and he can't control them, and he eventually fails. Paul's eventually a failure at being a leader or whatever, and the Fremen kind of take control, you know. So a lot of people say it's like a Lawrence of Arabia thing, you know, which is also kind of a white savior type of deal. I think it's a valid criticism. I think I would have to see how they handle part 2, obviously, to chime in on it.
They change him this color. Yeah. That'd be fucked up.
I was flipping, you know,
I don't think this is helping, guys.
I was flipping through the internet the other day, and apparently it was the anniversary of the 25th or 35th anniversary, maybe it was older than 25th of Soul Man, starring
God, that movie that movie was wrong back then.
That's what I was gonna say, is that even though I was like, clearly this is terrible now, but like that was even wrong back then, and all the reviews back then were like, this is mildly offensive. This is like we question the choice of Paul.
Well, what's funny, okay, and I'm gonna leave this on this because it seems like I'm opening the door to a bigger thing, but like the joke is like in the David Lynch version, most of the cast is like white, right?
Yeah.
So they just are. I mean, like
they're all white.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's like for Star Wars movie, everyone's white.
Oh, you mean in the David Lynch version of Dune?
Yeah, the David Lynch version.
Not David Lynch version of Soul Man. Right?
No, there was not a David Lynch version. Yeah, where the guy Soul Man screams for 30 minutes into a mirror. Bob looks back at him.
Right. Yeah.
Bob's like, this is offensive. Why are you doing this? No, David Lynch's Dune. The cast is pretty much mostly like
It's
white,
all white,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, but the Fremen are like all white. So the joke is it's like it doesn't look like a white savior,
It's
right?
true, yeah.
But then it's like the movie studio's like, oh look, we made everyone diverse and everything. So now here comes Paul with the Fremen, who are a diverse group of so it just makes it actually worse.
Yeah, that is true.
You know what? You can't do anything right. You just
all you can do is live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, and gather.
Yes.
Family.
Nurture.
All you can just cut signs hung on your wall.
Yeah.
Live, laugh, love. You know what? On that note.
Yes.
On that, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.